Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Neglected Naruto was banished yugioh. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Storm Eve, link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. My name is Naruto and your ass is on my kicking list this week. Professor Banner, why would you do this? A brown short-haired girl with orange highlights asked sadly as tears threatened to leak out of her honey brown eyes. Her clothing consisted of a red miniskirt and a sleeveless white shirt with a red stripe down the middle that contained her fairly large bust. The white-haired German professor smiled sadly. I did this because there are two more Shadow Riders you must defeat. One is the leader of the Shadow Riders and the other is a much male version of you, but just a bit smarter book-wise, but more oblivious than a slowpoke, but he is very wise, powerful, and is an expert at trolling his opponents, he said with a raised finger. Jaden sniffed before looking at Banner with a minor pout. Moo, that's not funny using a Pokemon reference in a Yu-Gi-Oh and Naruto crossover, she said before getting a minor flick across the forehead from the German. Stop breaking the fourth wall, Banner said as he began fading away. Looks like my time is up. Listen, I lied. You have the potential to be the strongest duelist on the planet. This is what he told me. Duel Monsters isn't just a card game, it's a way to shape new bonds with rivals. It is what makes me and you, and it is also what makes the power known as friendship. Banner finished as his body turned to sand, leaving a crying teenager with a lot riding through her head. Break. On one of the spires on top of Duel Academy was a sitting black hooded figure holding two deck boxes. One box was black with purple swirls and a chain adorning the box all around. This was his dark deck made for his ghosts and demons, and the other deck was white with multiple colored flames licking the bottom. This was his dragonic deck made for his dragons and guardians. On the figure's shoulder was a crimson furred fox with black tips snickering. The figure briefly glowed a light green before he opened the dark deck and a rush of Halloween-themed cards rushed out of it. Alright you pranksters, go have some fun. He called as the cards flew off in the wind. He then felt a pull on his cloak. The culprit was a small white-haired child hiding her face behind her white kimono sleeve and purple obi looking up at him with wide purple eyes and a small blush. The hooded figure sighed before he pulled the girl into his lap, getting the child's blush to increase. Don't feel like causing trouble tonight with Jack, do you Anna? He asked the child, getting a shake of the head as an answer as she buried her head in his chest. Stubborn just like me, you know. Okay, we'll stay like this for a bit longer, he said as he pet the girl's head. The girl smiled before she nodded to sleep off into her owner's lean chest, unknowingly angering the female monsters in the draconic deck, wishing they were in her position. The hooded figure sighed once again before he whispered, I really hope this match is every bit as fun as you promised me, old man, he said, then pulled out an orange and black cased phone and began playing some relaxing music as he nodded off as well. Break. Are you kidding me? There's another two Shadow Riders and they're stronger than Banner. One Chaz Princeton yelled in fury before shaking poor Cirrus Truesdale like a ragdoll since he couldn't shake Jaden. Jaden nodded her head, but he's like me and I would never, at least that's what Banner Amel told me before he vanished, she stated as she thought about how exactly he's able to control nature. He could have lied, a fairly attractive blue-haired girl, Z Truesdale said before shaking her head. Then again, why would he have even told you anything about the last rider? She asked more to herself as one of her dark blue eyes closed in thought as her waist-length hair shifted from side to side and she covered her arms under her fairly moderate bust, getting a few males to stare at her, only to get called a pervert by her best friend Alexis Rhodes, who wasn't by any means lacking in the beauty or bust department. Let's just sleep on it for now, it sounds like they're ready to stage the final attack, Bastion Misawa said as the gang went off into their living arrangements, blue-green cat-like eyes watching them from the shadows. Break. The next morning could only be described as absolute chaos. The hallways were frozen solid and slippery as was the lake. The dorms were TP'd by a massive amount of bandages. There was cat hair and bats everywhere. People were freaking out as they thought they saw their reflections come out of the mirror. Candles were suddenly lit and the power continued to cut off. But what happened to the gang was far worse in some cases. Break. Great Scott. Bastion called from his room as he picked up a small orange book, where all my books are, and what is this itcha paradise? He said as he opened the book. Let's see, Riku pushed Zeke on the forest floor before she pulled off, oh my, and then she, my word, and then, Einstein's ghost. This is amazing, Bastion said as he buried himself deeper in the book. In the obelisk blue dorm, a similar scene is replaying with Alexis and her roommates Jasmine and Mindy. Break. Somebody stop me. Cirrus yelled, as did Chumley as the duo slid across the icy hallways before they slammed face first into the door of the classroom. Cirrus's sister Z shakes her head at her brother before walking away, only for a tripwire to activate and tighten around her ankle before she was pulled into the air and left dangling from a rope, trying to cover her panties with her skirt from being seen. Break. Who dares to prank the Chaz? Chaz yelled to the heavens before he stepped around the corner and was bombarded by another series of pies for the fourth time this morning. "I swear to all that is Chaz, I will get you, you bastard," he said before a special pie hit square in junk. He kneels to the ground before saying, "That pie had a brick in it." Break. Wahahaha. Jaden laughed as another obelisk blue student was tarred and feathered in the same car wash type trap before being ejected into the girls' dorm and being subjected to a rather ravenous beatdown from the girls that caught them. "Man, that was a good laugh, but I wonder who's been doing all this," she asked herself as she walked away only for her to snap a tripwire. A bag of flour emptied over her head and turned her into a dusty white slifer. Her right eye twitched before a small note flew in front of her that read, "Come to the forest tonight and prepare to get your game on." She growled before declaring it's on. As she walked back to her dorm to clean up and get ready for her duel. Break. "Where is he? Where is the bastard that dares to defile the Chaz?" Chaz yelled as he tore through the bushes looking for said bastard as the rest of the gang sighed. "I don't think the last Shadow Rider would be in a bush," Alexa stated shaking her head before a new male voice spoke. "She's right, you should probably check the clearing up north." "Thank you, you see at least someone agrees me," Alexa stated. "Wait, who just said that?" She finished before the entire group turned to a black hooded figure hanging upside down from a tree with his face still being hidden. "Yo. Holy raw, where did he come from?" Cirrus yelled. "Well, when my mother and father were in the mood for a child, my father lit the candles before sticking his fingers in." "I asked where did you just come from, not how you were born," Cirrus declared with a blush, getting a chuckle from the figure before he dropped out the tree with the cutest red-colored fox ever seen with bunny-like ears. "Oh, well, you should have said so." "I did," Cirrus stated, gritting his teeth. Taz growled, "Enough chit-chat, who the heck are you anyway?" The figure chuckled before he pulled down his hood, getting a light blush from the present females as the hood revealed a tanned, handsome, spiky blonde and red streaked-haired teen around their age. His face was void of baby fat and had 3 strange whisker marks on each cheek as well as a black arc mark under his left bright blue and right crimson red eye. "Merrick's marks, you can call me Naruto, the final Shadow Rider," he stated with a wide grin, getting a shocked look from the gang as he then picked up the crimson fox on his shoulder. "And this furball on my shoulder is Kura," he said, getting a yip from the now named Kura. "Hold up," Jaden began, you're the final Shadow Rider, no offense, but I thought you'd be, I don't know, more menacing, not a guy named after Raymond Topping." She giggled a bit as he began drawing circles in the ground as a mini rain cloud poured down on his parade, muttering, "It means maelstrom, damn it." "Does this mean you're the one who's been messing with us throughout this entire day?" Z asked. Her left eyebrow began to twitch as the admittingly cute blonde nodded his head with that wide grin on once again. "Enough, are you ready to duel or what?" Alexa stated before Naruto phased out of existence and appeared right in front of her, staring her down with his heterochrome eyes brimming with childlike curiosity. She blushed at the intensity of his stare and noticed that the whisker marks on his cheeks weren't tattoos, but before she could say anything he vanished once again, but this time in front of the group. "I didn't even see him move," was the thought that was on everyone's mind as Naruto walked toward the clearing. After they had arrived at the clearing, Jaden stood across from Naruto with an eager grin and a fire in her eyes. Naruto chuckled before he took out a purple and black version of the Academy Duel disc. "Jaden, let's start the show," Naruto said. "Naruto, prepare to get your game on," she declared. "Duel start." Naruto 4000. "I draw, and first off I activate the field spell Gostric Museum," he said as the landscape was changed to a dusty old museum with a few floating artifacts similar to Camula's castle. "Then I'll set a monster and a card face down and activate field barrier to protect my museum." Jaden 4000. "Never heard of Gostrix before, but I summon elemental hero Sparkman in attack mode and equip it with Spark Blaster," she said as a warrior in golden armor and a blue face shield appeared on her side of the field with a sparking gun, "and I'll activate my hero's blaster and change your face down monster to face up attack mode," she said as her hero fired his gun at Naruto's face down card, revealing a silver-haired girl inside a mirror sitting on a floating dresser. The hero Sparkman LV4 warrior 1600 at 1400 def. Gostric Mary the 55th1 fiend 100 at 1600 def. "I'm not finished yet because I fuse Sparkman with the Avian and Bubbleman in my hand with polymerization to summon elemental hero Tempest, and I'm having it attack your Gostric," she said as a blue-haired man wearing armor from all 3 heroes appeared on the field and attacked Gostric Mary with a gun-like attachment on its arm. The hero Tempest LV8 warrior 2800 at 2800 def. Naruto smirked under his hood, "So close, but I activate the effect of my Gostric lantern from my hand," he said as a Tempest was stopped by a floating ghost with a pumpkin head carrying a lantern. "You see, when you attack a Gostric, my lantern can negate your attack and summon itself in face-down defense mode," he said as lantern tossed its head to Tempest, but before the warrior could drop the head shrieked a loud boo, giving Tempest a mild heart attack. Gostric Lantern LV1 Fiend 800 at 0 def. Jaden smiled a bit. Fine, I set a card face down and end my turn. Naruto 4000 Gostric Mary, Gostric Lantern, Gostric Museum, 1 card face down 1 card in hand. Jaden 4000 Elemental Hero Tempest, 1 card face down, no cards in hand. I draw, you know you're pretty good, haven't seen anybody pull out a powerful fusion monster that strong in a while, so I'll battle back with a strong monster, so I summon my Gostric Cerberus in attack mode. He said as a dog collar appeared before multiplying into 3 as black smoke formed a black Doberman with 3 heads and big doe eyes and a wagging tail. Next I'll overlay my Gostric Lantern and my Gostric Mary to XYZ summon Gostric Dullahan. He said as Mary and Lantern nodded to each other before turning dark purple and flying into what looked like a black hole before the hole shut and it exploded. Out of the explosion was a mythic creature only heard of in legends. The legendary Headless Horseman. Except a bit more comical. The horse was tinted a light blue as its rider was wearing black and gold armor, carrying a sword as large as its body. Gostric Cerberus LV3 Zombie 1700 at 400 def. Gostric Dullahan rank 1 Fiend 1000 at 1000 def requirement 2 level 1s. Jaden tilted her head to the side, a motion that was copied by the gang XYZ summon. About a minute later Naruto was drawing in the dirt the rules to Ziz summon huddled around by everyone from the gang. After you get the number of required monsters of the same level, you can overlay them to special summon a monster with a black frame from your extra deck. There are a few exceptions. That seems ridiculously overpowered and just plain not fair, Cirrus said as the others nodded in unison. It is, Naruto said with a grin as the gang sweat dropped. Anyway, I activate my Dullahan's ability to remove an overlay unit and half your monster's attack points, plus it helps that Dullahan gets a 200 attack point boost for every Gostric card on my field. Gostric Dullahan 1000 to 1600. The Hero Tempest 2800 to 1400. Oh come on. Jaden complained as his Dullahan's horse rammed into Tempest. Gladly now Cerberus attack her Tempest with blazing howl. He commanded as Cerberus shot a fireball from its maw. I activate Tempest's effect. If I sacrifice a card on my field he can't be destroyed. Jaden 4300 equals 3700. Naruto smirked. I was counting. Cerberus has 2 effects and I'll use one of them when Cerberus attacks and can't destroy an opponent's monster. He can attack again up to 2 more times, he said as Tempest was attacked by the other 2 heads. Jaden 3700 300 equals 3400 300 equals 3100. And now Dullahan attacks your Tempest once again. He said as Dullahan slashed her Tempest across his chest. Jaden 3100 200 equals 2900. Due to the field spell when a monster inflicts a damage they're flipped face down and the opponent's monsters can stage a direct attack, so my are flipped face down and with that I'll set a card face down and end my turn, Naruto said as his monsters flip themselves face down. Come on, let me see that fighting spirit. The damage isn't real, Jaden asked more than stated. Naruto smiled kindly under his hood. Of course not, I'm not dueling to hurt anybody, he said as Jaden's cheeks turned a bit rosy at his words and his compassion. Naruto 4000, 1 card in hand, 2 face downs, Gostric Museum, Gostric Dullahan and Cerberus. Jaden 2100, no cards in hand, no face down, Elemental Hero Tempest. Jaden shook her head and slapped her cheeks getting the blush to lessen. My draw, and first off I activate the spell Hero Draw. This card lets me draw a card for every elemental hero card in my graveyard and on my field and I have 4. I'll go ahead and use 2 of them. I activate Pot of Greed and Fusion Recovery. She then drew 4 cards giving her a total of 5 with an elemental hero avian back in her hand. And first off I flip summon my Elemental Hero Tempest and activate Monster Reborn to bring back Elemental Hero Sparkman, and I'll fuse my Avian in my hand with Elemental Hero Burstinatrix in my hand to fusion summon Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. She said as a green-skinned warrior appeared with a dragon for a hand and white wings and black markings appeared in a flame. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman LV6 Warrior 2100 at 1400 def. Not bad, you managed to bump off your offense. Not bad at all, Naruto said. Jaden grinned. You haven't seen anything yet. I activate our Righteous Justice to destroy field barrier and your face downs and Heated Heart to give my wingman a 500 point boost and the piercing ability. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman 2100 to 2600. Bastion grinned because she has destroyed his face down cards. He has nothing to protect his life points because of his own field spell. She's won, he stated confidently as Heavy Storm destroyed field barrier and his face down spirit barrier until a separate typhoon blew away Gostric Museum. The hooded team chuckled at the looks on their faces as the clearing returned to normal. Sorry, but I activated Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy my field barrier, so you can't get to my life points without destroying my monsters first. Alright then, Flame Wingman attack your face down Gostric Cerberus with Scorching Impact. And when he destroys a monster you take damage equal to that monster's attack points. She said as her wingman slammed through Cerberus's card in a fiery tackle before the hero opened his dragon hand and launched a flame towards Naruto and engulfed him in a flame. Naruto 4200 equals 1800 to 1700 equals 100. Now Sparkman destroy his Dullahan with Spark Blast. She ordered as Sparkman sent a blast of electricity towards Dullahan's card destroying the horseman before she continued, then I activate instant fusion to fuse my elemental hero flame wingman with my Sparkman to fusion summon elemental shining flare wingman. And his ability gives a 300 point boost for every E-hero in my graveyard and there's a total of 5, now go Tempest. She called as Flame Wingman and Sparkman jumped into a swirl and created a tall, winged, light green-skinned warrior with shining silver armor with a red light at the center of his helmet. Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman LV8 Warrior 2500 at 2100 def. Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman 2500 at 4000 at. Oh shit, Naruto thought as he looked towards the shining hero in a bit of panic, this is so much fun. He thought with a feral grin. Cirrus cheered, alright Jaden won, there's no way he could survive this next move. He said as Tempest blasted Naruto kicking up a storm of dust in his hood. Wait, Z began, if Jaden won why are her monsters still on the field? She asked aloud as the gang acknowledged her statement as the dust cleared and revealed a somewhat familiar scene, except instead of Gostrick Lantern on the field was a snowman dressed for winter weather, protecting himself with a giant snowman before the snowman collapsed on Tempest, flipping him face down. Z's eyes widened before saying that's the monster from earlier. Gostrick Jackfrost LV1 Fiend 800 at 0 def. From the dust Naruto began laughing not manically, but as if he was having fun. The dust began to clear as he spoke, let me explain what happened to your monster, Naruto begins as spectral figures appeared behind. You see, when you attacked me directly I activated the effect of Gostrick Jackfrost flipping your monster face down and therefore sparing my life points, he finished before another pie was thrown into Chaz's face. My Gostricks are really great monsters, but they are natural pranksters to their core, Naruto said as Chaz screamed and pointed at Naruto before he was hit with another banana cream pie as a light brown furred werewolf dressed only on pants rolled around laughing madly as its blue eyes filled with tears before it ran off with a meep meep and stuck out its tongue and ran away with Chaz right behind it. I'll turn you into a new carpet you mangy mutt. Chaz yelled. Naruto sighed, actually that was Gostrick Werewolf, one of more mischievous of the group, and if any of you picked up an orange book labeled Itcha Itcha, I apologize, that was Lantern, he's a slight pervert. He finished as Bastion and Alexis looked away with a small blush. Naruto tilted his head to the side before stating more than asking, you read the book didn't you? Cute, Jaden muttered as did Alexis and surprisingly Z. I throw down a card face down and end my turn. Naruto tilted his head to the other side at the comment with a minor blush, you're not too bad yourselves you know, he said making each girl blush a bit more before Jaden continued, then my shining flare wingman will attack your Jackfrost. She stated, but before the shining hero could attack a freaking floating fiery pumpkin poofed out of nowhere in his face, giving him a mild heart attack and effectively stopping his attack. Probably should have mentioned that when Gostrick Dullahan is destroyed, I can add a Gostrick monster back to my hand and I chose Gostrick Lantern, you can never keep a good ghost down. Jaden laughed and smiled widely, this is pretty a fun match, let's see you get out of this one, I end my turn. Tumley asked how much longer do you think this will take, they're pretty even. With Jaden's heroes out on the field it shouldn't be too much longer, I mean one more attack and he's done, Alexis stated. Then why is he smiling like he's won the lottery? Cirrus asked. Jaden 2900. Naruto 100. I draw and I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 more cards and I think I'll use both of them. First up is Gostrick Mummy, and due to his effect, I can summon another Gostrick monster, and I pick the only other one in my hand, Gostrick Spectre. He said as a mummified cartoon zombie and a white bed sheet with green monster feet appeared on his side of the field as he was left with one card in his hand. Gostrick Mummy LV3 Zombie 1500 at 0 def. Gostrick Spectre LV1 Fiend 600 at 0 def. Next up I'll overlay my level on Gostrick Spectre, level 1 Gostrick Jackfrost, and my level 1 Gostrick Lantern to XYZ summon my Gostrick Necromancer. He declared as the 3 monsters flew into a black portal before it exploded. Out of the explosion appeared a dark-skinned female cloaked figure with 3 imps flying around her, with her holding a strange staff with 3 rings wrapped around the top. I'm not finished yet because she gives every monster on my field a 300 point boost for every Gostrick in play. I activate her ability to revive 1 monster in my grave at the cost of 1 overlay unit. I pick Gostrick Cerberus, but he's not staying for long because I overlay my 2 level 3 monsters, Cerberus and Mummy to Ziz summon the king of the deck Gostrick Alucard. He said as the 2 zombie type monsters formed another portal, but this time a swarm of bats appeared. A single black eye with a red bead could be seen from the swarm before they dispersed, revealing a white-skinned figure with royal black garments and a black cape. I don't know what gender Alucard is. Ostric Necromancer R1 Fiend 500 at 2000 def minus 500 plus 2700 equals 3200 at. Ostric Alucard R3 Zombie 1800 at 1600 def 1800 plus 2700 equals 4500 at. Alucard you're up. I remove an overlay unit to destroy your face down elemental hero Tempest. He said as Alucard used an overlay unit to smash through Tempest's card. Now go my two monsters finish her off. He ordered as Alucard unleashed a swarm of bats that enshrouded Shining Flare Wingman before he was destroyed, and Necromancer just bopped Jaden on the head and giggled as she jumped away back to her little brother. Jaden 2100 500 equals 1600 3200 equals 0. Winner Naruto. I don't believe it Jaden lost, Alexis stuttered. Cirrus grabbed his head before getting in the fetal position rocking back and forth muttering game over, we're done, game over he said in utter despair, getting a sigh from his older sister before she walked over and began to step on his stomach and began to add pressure until he cried out in pain. Be quiet for a minute you being depressed does not help the situation at all, she demanded with her foot still on her baby brother's back. Cirrus grunted, did you really have to step on me, you could have just asked. Yes I did, she said with a small smirk on her face. Sadist the gang thought before they shivered as Z smiled a too sweet smile that did not belong on her face. You better not be calling me a sadist, now watch she said as Cyber and Dragon's shadow appeared behind her and everyone quickly looked towards the two duelists. Jaden fell to her bottom as her body shivered for an unknown reason as a light blush spread across her face. Naruto walked forward with ice-cold blue eyes before he looked down at the Slifer red and the cold look was replaced with a smile and warm blue eyes as he held out his hand. She looked up and her blush increased to a full body blush as her knees turned to jelly. Hey you okay? He asked before he pressed his forehead against hers, getting the blush to turn even redder, you don't seem to have a cold. He could not be that dense they thought. Oh well, up we go, he began getting a confused stare from Jaden as the blush receded a bit only for it to flare up worse as he lifted her up bridal style and carried her over to the gang and gently sat her down before walking back towards the forest, see you later representatives. He said waving his hand. Wait a minute. Alexis called out getting her fellow blonde to look over his shoulder. You won, doesn't that mean you take her key or her soul and revive the sacred beasts? She said. Naruto shook his head, like I said before dueling isn't meant to hurt people even if you are able to. Dueling is a way to form bonds with people you don't even know. There is an old saying I learned from an old friend of mine when one life meets another, something wonderful is born I was raised believing this and I will continue to follow through with it until I die, he said before an evil laugh filled the air. Why am I fraternizing with enemy are we? A sophisticated yet cyber-like voice said as a hologram showing a shadowed figure with a glowing ring, I thought we taught you better than thought. DCH, you didn't teach me Jack Kajimaru, all that I learned was that you guys need the 11-foot poles removed from all your asses. Naruto said with an accusing finger, that and you guys never have any fun. I mean the only time I ever had any fun was when I gave Night Shroud, Titan and Dawn wedgies, switched Camilla's makeup with Tanya's, gave the Prince and Amnil a new shiny coat of orange and purple paint and filled your water tube into cherry jello and dyed your lair seafoam green. When did you do that? The hologram asked with what seemed to be fear as Naruto pulled out a small box with a red button with an innocent smile before he said, right now, and pressed the button as a loud bang and a large seafoam green colored mushroom-shaped cloud appeared in the distance. Why you're truly evil, the hologram said as the mushroom cloud receded. Wahahaha. You shall bow before the might of the mighty prank god Naruto, or perish in the mighty wake of my pranks, and drown yourself in your own embarrassment. Naruto yelled as he laughed evilly, only to get smacked in the back of the head by Gostric Alucard. Alucard crossed his arms with a wagging a white finger with a light smile on his face. I thought the duel was over, why is his monster here and how did his monster even touch him? Chumley asked yelled as question marks appeared over everyone's head that soon turned into sweat drops as Naruto punched Alucard in the gut and the two began fighting in a Three Stooges way until Naruto had enough and kicked Alucard hard enough in the baby-making zone and dissipated him back into particles. Naruto looked down towards his left arm as he sighed, let's just say it's one of my abilities as a duelist, my monsters can become real in this plane of existence. Ahem if you don't mind I would like to collect my winnings, Kajimaru interrupted as a golden flash from his millennium ring glowed before a beam shot from the hologram towards the Slifer red female, Jaden your dual spirit and soul are mine. Jaden watch out. The gang cried as Jaden attempted to shield the blast by crossing her arms as a large explosion enveloped her. Boom. What nobody had noticed was that one person had vanished from view. Once the dust cleared, everyone had been expecting their favorite Slifer was worse for wear. What they had not been expecting was the surprisingly friendly Shadow Rider, with what now is a large burn mark on his back, shielding said Slifer with his body facing towards her. Jaden slowly opened her eyes, wondering why she hadn't felt her solar spirit being drained or taken away, only to see her new friend in a considerable amount of pain, as his back was smoking. "Then Naruto why would you?" She stuttered as tears began leaking out from her eyes. Naruto chuckled before he weakly poked her head. "And now why are you crying? You're far too cute to cry, and I did this because you're my opponent." "No, you were my opponent, you're my friend now. Bar the monsters in my deck, I never had any friends, so when I met you and your friends, I had something I didn't have for a long time. Hope that I could maybe become friends with you guys and girls. I won't be able to enjoy myself in duels anymore, pity, I was really looking forward to dueling with you all." He finished as he collapsed into the dirt. "A bump. Such a fool that boy was," Kajimaru began. The gang grew quite angry at this blatant show of disrespect, with Z actually voicing her opinion quite angrily. "You mean you're not even a bit upset that you attacked your own rider?" she asked, with Jaden falling to her knees and staring at her new friend's body. "A bump, a bump." The hologram chuckled. Of course not, he was simply nothing but cannon fodder that wasn't even able to fully follow any commands. He was a sorry excuse for a duelist, just like that pathetic excuse banner. A bump, a bump, a bump. He was never worth anything and was never going to amount to anything, he just was a failure, Kajimaru sneered and was about to continue until a golden aura exploded from Jaden's body and she gave him a glare from her now golden-colored eyes. "Shut up," she said as the hologram machine broke and said hologram cut transmission. Now that the object of her rage was temporarily dealt with, the aura receded as she began to cry. The gang surrounded her to support her in her time of need. "Poke." Her eyes snapped open as the fallen blonde chuckled weakly. "You can't get rid of me that easily, you know," he said as he was almost squeezed back to near death by Jaden. "Dumbus, dumbus, dumbus," she yelled, "you could have died." Sorry about that," Naruto said as his gastric deck glowed a light purple. Naruto and the cards glowed a light purple before a very large creature around the size of the obelisk blue dorms and a shadowed female rose from the ground. The creature picked up the academy members of Duel Academy and the injured Naruto, while the female carried Kura in her arms and flew to the creature's shoulder, sitting down on it. The large creature then walked out of the forest to Duel Academy, causing a mini quake with each step. "Break. My word, what is that annoying sound?" Professor Crowler asked as he walked around the campus in a nightie as the sound of stomping echoed throughout Duel Academy's walls. The manlady stomped throughout the dorms, attempting to follow the sounds before a rather heavy step pretty much shook Duel Academy's foundation to its core. The now wide-awake Professor Crowler and Principal Shepard ran outside to confront the maker of the quakes, only to see a terrifying monster. The monster was huge, easily the size of the obelisk blue, its legs and arms seemed to be made out of metal and brick, as was the rest of its body. On its shoulder was a chimney. While on its top was a roof, while right under the roof was a pair of lit windows. All in all, it looked like a house. The creature didn't seem to have a mouth until the front door on its stomach flew open and it roared. They then noticed the monster was holding their students who were supposed to still be on campus in the creature's hands, with a near unconscious whiskered spiky blonde-haired teen as well. Before they could tell the creature to let them go, the creature lowered them to the ground as a shadow with bat wings swooped down and dropped a small red fox with a blonde male. Both figures soon disappeared in a purple flash. Mr. Shepard broke the silence with a few simple words that said nothing but panic in his speech. "What have you gotten yourselves into, and why is he here as well?" Prowler noticed the scared look on the principal's face. "Principal Shepard, what's wrong? Who is that child?" Shepard turned towards Crowler just enough so Crowler could see the panic in his eyes. This boy was known as the Elemental Nation's greatest weapon and one of the most dangerous duelists since the Merrick from Battle City. This boy is known as the Chaotic Fox. "Freak," one shouted. "Monster," another shouted. "Even if you cheated, Sasu-kun will always be better than you, Baka," a shrill voice shouted. "You are a weapon, never forget that. No one could ever love a monster like you, the only thing you're good for is to pass on your genes of Minato-sama and Kushina-sama. You are a toy, only to be used to make our men jealous. I dope. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you, but know this, I'll always love you, my special baby boy." Naruto woke up in a sweaty and heavily breathing mess as he tossed off the covers of the hospital bed. He just stared with blue and silvery eyes at his bandaged hands and abdomen as the memories from the duel and afterwards raced through his mind. His door opened slightly before a white, red and black bullet shot into his stomach and he felt something wet lick his cheeks. Naruto looked down to see a quivering Kura with teary red slit eyes. "Sorry for worrying you, girl," Naruto said as he hugged the fox, before his deck lying right next to him glowed a bit as a small feminine figure popped out of his ghost deck and sat on top of his spiky locks. The girl had long pink hair and green eyes, she wore a frilly light blue dress with a matching hat and stockings decorated with same flowers she held in her hands. The only thing odd about the girl besides the permanent blush on her face were what looked like dull parts. His draconic deck glowed as a pair of blonde women appeared in a flash as Naruto began sweating heavily. The younger woman-looking blonde was dressed in a blue and pink miniskirt, pink and blue boots and a low-cut shirt with a very strange-looking hat of the same color. She was quite cute with a permanent blush on her cheeks and blue eyes that were now narrowed in anger. The other blonde was wearing an Indian gown that went all the way to her ankles. On her head was a white eagle headdress, and her brown eyes that had red tribal markings underneath them were also narrowed in anger. "You are in so much trouble," the older-looking blonde woman said as the small pink-haired girl pulled on his whiskered cheeks, much to the amusement of his fox friend as she was picked up by the younger blonde. "Ara, what did I do?" he asked with a tilt of his head, looking absolutely adorable as he was glumped by the younger blonde and pressed into her modest bust as the older-looking blonde was restraining to do the same if the blush on her face was anything to go by. The pink-haired girl on top of his head sighed, "Narukai, you're so dense, Ito's is just mad that you risked your life for a cute girl, and Mana is just worried about you because they're both mmphhhhh." She began only for Ito's and Mana to cover her mouth and begin laughing awkwardly. Ito's glared at the girl before whispering, "I swear doll that if you tell him anything I will personally shove my sword up your ass or whatever hole you call an ass. Don't forget the dark magic attack that will follow soon afterwards." Mana giggled with an innocent expression as a pitch-black aura enveloped her, and it said she was everything but innocent at this moment. This however was interrupted by Naruto wrapping his arms, the three getting them all to blush. Naruto sighed, "I'm sorry for making you all worry like that," he said with his bangs covering his eyes. The spirits returned the hug before Ito said, "Just don't do that again, you dumbass, Lady T was really worried about you." "Hi," he muttered before the door to the nurse's room began to open. "Crap. Hide." Naruto panicked, waving his arms around only for the back injury to flare up a bit as the dual spirits disappeared back into their respective decks. His door opened revealing Shepard and Crowler. The balding principal glared at the blonde and red-haired boy with brown eyes before he spoke, "So would you explain why my students are injured and why Kagemaru is issuing a challenge?" Getting a sigh from Naruto before Naruto explained what happened last night bar a few details. Shepard glared for a bit longer before his eyes softened. "Good, it matches up with student story, now come along, we must discuss future plans for dealing with the leader of the Shadow Riders," he said as he and Crowler left the room with a hospital gown wearing Naruto and a happy Kura on his head. "Hey, what's going on?" a male asked. "Why is he only in that gown?" a slifer red female asked. "I don't care how he's dressed, just look at his face, it's so cute," an obelisk blue female said. "His body is pretty well sculpted too," another obelisk blue female stated. "Man, how much I wouldn't give for some wind to blow by. Hey baby, can I have your number?" By the time they got to Shepard's office, Naruto was a bright cherry red. What? He didn't get a lot of attention back home, people usually just ignored him, so when he hears catcalls from multiple attractive females, he blushed, increasing the amount of squeals and catcalls. God damn it. He didn't know how to deal with this. The only girls he had ever gotten to know were his dual spirits. By the time the three had arrived at Shepard's office, the 7 academy students were all waiting outside. "Let's talk in my office," Shepard said, getting a nod from the students and Naruto as they piled in, not noticing a few feminine gazes lingering on Naruto's hospital gown-clad body and bare ass. Shepard sits down in his boss chair and puts his hands in front of his mouth before he asked with hardened brown eyes, "What's Kagemaru's next move?" As he stared at the blonde and crimson-haired teen, said teen sighed, "He's coming here for the sacred beasts," he stated, much to the shock of the other occupants in the room, if the loud gasp was anything to go by. "But how? We have all the keys," Chaz yelled, pulling the 7 keys out of his pocket. "The keys aren't what awakens the beasts, it's the dual energy that was gathered by each and every duel with the Shadow Rider. The keys will just speed up the process a bit, and with that duel between Jaden and I, they are definitely awake." Prowler steps in with, "Do you have any idea when Kagemaru will appear?" Getting a shake of the head is the answer. "Well, until then you will be accompanied by Ms. Jaden Yuki." Crowler finished, getting a tilt of the head from Naruto and a mini blush from Jaden, who was still staring at his ass and had a slight glare from the obelisk blue females aimed in her direction. "Why does Shaz have all the keys?" Cirrus asked. "Better question, where the hell are my clothes?" Naruto asked. "Break." "So besides Ziz summoning their Synchro and Pendulum?" Jaden asked with a light pink dusting across her cheeks as she trailed in front of Naruto with her hands behind her head. Naruto was now wearing a modified version of the slifer red uniform. "Why?" Because these uniforms had no orange, orange was a baddest color that deserved respect just like the food of the gods known as ramen. He was now wearing an orange blazer in place of the red and black instead of the white over a white t-shirt. He looked damn good in that outfit if she said so herself. Kerr was back in the nurse's office as the nurse wanted to make sure everything was okay for the fox. "Yep, hey, I could go for something to eat, how about you?" he asked, getting a bright smile in return before she grabbed his arm and pulled him away to the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, the two duelists saw multiple students fighting over who was going to draw the golden egg witch today. "On three," Jaden said as the two reached into the egg witch cart. 1, 2, 3, pull. The two pulled out a yellow wrap sandwich before they removed the wrapper and bit into it. "Ramen," Jaden spoke, getting a shocked look from Naruto. "Golden," Naruto said, getting a shocked look from Jaden. Naruto's hair wilted and his eyes turned watery. As his bottom lip quivered, he pointed to Jaden's egg witch and offered his in exchange. "Oh okay, take it, just stop it with the face already, it's too damn cute," Jaden said as the two switched the sandwiches ate with gusto. They never noticed they were being followed by the other students. "How come Jaden gets to show him around?" Alexis said as they hid behind the bushes. Cirrus raised an eyebrow. "Is that jealousy I detect?" he asked, only to squeak and hide as Alexis gave him the female death glare. Alexis lessened the glare before she turned her head so no one could see her blush. "I just think that someone who actually knows Duel Academy should show him around." Tumbley's sweat dropped. "Yeah, not jealous at all," he said, looking away like the other males in the group. Z whispered into Alexis's ear, "You're jealous Jaden gets to show the cute foxy duelist around and the fact she is bonding with him before you do, aren't you?" Alexis bristled before a thought popped into her head. "Cute and foxy, huh?" she said with a smile as it was Z's turn to blush this time. Their friendly moment was interrupted when a large light green colored beam shot into the sky and the keys around Chaz's neck pulled him deeper into the forest. "Where are you going, Chaz?" Alexis asked. "I don't know," Chaz yelled as he flew off as he was followed by the others. Naruto's and Jaden's head snapped towards Chaz's voice before Naruto squatted. "Hop on," he said as the Slifer Red nodded and jumped onto his back before Naruto quickly took off towards the gang and caught up. "It's okay Naruto, try not to think pervy thoughts about the girl on your backs, she's not even wearing a bra. Damn it, I don't how to deal with this." The 7 keys tore themselves from Chaz and flew into the 3 pillars in a bare area before the ground began shaking as a briefcase rose from the ground on a pedestal. The briefcase opened and revealed the 3 sacred beasts, but before anybody could grab them a familiar voice interrupted. "Those cards do not belong to you," Kajimari yelled from the helicopter hovering overhead before a large spider-like machine dropped to the ground. Inside the machine's stasis-like tube was an old man with a large gray beard and cold black eyes hooked up to the machine over his mouth, which allowed him to breathe. Shepard, Crowler, Atticus, Alexis's older brother, and Kura ran into the area before Shepard began, "My word, what's going on?" He then looked into the machine as Kura ran to her older brother. "You're the superintendent Kajimaru, you're the one that gave me the keys, so why are you here?" Hajimaru chuckled, "I gave you the keys so I could revive the beasts, and I'm guessing Naruto already told you that it's dual energy that is required to awaken the sacred beasts, but when last of my original riders failed, not enough dual energy was gathered, so I sent one of the most promising duelists to gather the rest of the dual energy and even absorb Naruto's abilities for my own use by tapping into the power of the beasts." Hajimaru laughed evilly as the machine grabbed the cards and put into a dual disc-like contraption. "Well, you're not going to get to use them as long as I'm around," Z said. "No way, this is the Chaz's duel and I'm going to Chaz you up. Don't even need to explain who this is." "He's mine," Atticus said as he strummed his guitar. "He turned me into one of his shadow riders." Alexis gained a depressed aura as her brother continued to strum his guitar. Before Bastion could say anything, Kajimaru stated, "No, that's why I hate teenagers." "Well fuck you too," Naruto replied. "I will only duel Naruto or Jaden, for they have what I need, a soul and the ability to bring spirits to the real world and manifest them as flesh and blood." Jaden turned her head to the blonde. "You can do that." "Yep, but it takes a day's worth of energy just to use a few monsters," Naruto began with a nonchalant shrug before a light bulb appeared over his head. "Yo Kajimaru, how about you duel both of us?" "That's acceptable, but I'll start out with twice the amount of life points and draw 2 cards instead of 1, then I'll defeat both of you and send this place and everyone on it to the depths of the ocean." Taz hopped out the crater before Jaden asked, "Where you going?" "Off this island," he said before Cirrus threw a backpack holding Jaden's dual disc to Jaden, hitting Chaz square in the face as a card fell out of her backpack. "This must be a card banner wanted me to have," she thought as she inserted the card into her deck. Naruto held out his arm as a different dual disc appeared on his arm. This dual disc was white with red and blue flame-like patterns all across the place where you put your cards with the entire part looking like a cross between an angel and dragon wing. Kajimaru prepare to burned alive with my draconic deck. Draconic? Jaden asked slightly miffed her opponent took it easy on her. Were you taking it easy on me? What no? Naruto asked waving his hands in front of his face. I alternate between this deck and my gastric deck, to be fair to both of them, it was just chance I used my draconic before I dueled you. If it makes you feel better you can duel this deck after this duel. It's a date, Jaden said with a smile before her face turned bright red, I mean duel. Well both of you won't be going anywhere after this duel. Kajimaru interrupted. Duel start. Naruto 4000. Jaden 4000. Kajimaru 8000. Ladies first, Jaden began, I summon elemental hero Burstinatrix in defense mode and set one card face down, that's all for now, she stated a bit nervously awaiting the summon of the sacred beasts as her red tight wearing elemental hero with a golden tiara and silver hair appeared in a burst of flames. Elemental hero Burstinatrix LV3 warrior 1200 at 800 def. Naruto 4000. My turn then, Naruto stated, I summon Eclipse Wyvern in defense mode and set two cards face down and end my turn. Soon a small dragon with a half white and half black body appeared in a flash of light. Eclipse Wyvern LV4 Dragon 1600 at 1000 def. Kajimaru 8000. It's my move and I set 3 traps cards face down, Kajimaru stated much to the confusion of the others. I think his machine is glitched, Chaz snorted as Bastion nodded, yes he didn't need to say they were trap cards, so why did he now Jaden and Naruto will be on guard for his traps. Kajimaru chuckled, let me show you why. I sacrifice all 3 continuous trap cards to summon the first of my sacred beasts Yuria Lord of Searing Flames and he gains 1000 attack points for every continuous trap card in my graveyard and I currently have 3. Kajimaru stated as his 3 face down cards were lit aflame before they flew towards one of the 3 spires. The spire was engulfed in a column of fire before a red serpent-like dragon flew out on above its yellow eyes was a blue gem. The mighty beasts gave off a monstrous roar. Yuria Lord of Searing Flames Divine Beast 3000 at 3000 def. This is a sacred beast Jaden thought nervously. Great Scott it's enormous. Bastion thought. A voice called out from Chaz's deck. Said duelist pulled out and saw a slightly thinned Ahama yellow. This thing is de-draining my energy. Suck it up. Said Princeton responded focusing back on the duel. There's no way anybody can fight against this monster. Cirrus and Chumley yelled. And to think there are all still 2 more of these beasts in his deck. Z said. Do you still think they can pull this off? Alexis asked. Holy shit, it's Red Shenron. Naruto said in awe as everyone even the monsters looked at him like he was in the highest form of being intoxicated. Quick somebody bring me the Black Star Dragon Balls, I want a bottomless pit of ramen. Alexis scooted close next to Z before whispering, is it odd I find that kinda cute and funny? Not really. Z said only to turn her gaze back towards the duel. Hajimaru fumed, how dare you insult the sacred beast? That's a sacred beast. Naruto began, looks more like Slifer the Sky Dragon's ex-girlfriend. He stated wiping away any doubt held by Jaden. That's it I'll kill you first. Kajimaru roared in anger I'll use activate Yuria's ability and destroy your face down set card. You wish because before you activate it, I'll activate my face down the continuous trap card Castle of Dragon Souls. DCH cheeky brat, fine I'll use Yuria's effect to destroy Jaden's face down card, he said as a stream of fire destroyed Jaden's trap, mirror gate, now go Yuria, destroy the impudent boy's wyvern. Another stream of fire engulfed the smaller dragon in a glorious blaze. I'll set 2 cards face down and end my turn. When you send my Eclipse Wyvern to the graveyard I can remove from play 1 level 7 or higher light or dark dragon type monster from deck and I choose the level 8 Felgrin dragon. Jaden 4000. I move and I activate the field spell Skyscraper and Polymerization and fuse my elemental hero Avian, Sparkman and Bubbleman to fusion, summon the one and only elemental hero Tempest. She declared as the landscape changed into a city filled with skyscrapers as the 3 heroes fused into the green-haired and winged hero. When my Tempest attacks a monster with more attack points, he gains 1000 attack points. Elemental Hero Tempest LV8 Warrior 2800 at 2800 def plus 1000 AC equals 3800 AC. Now I switch my Burstinatrix to attack mode now go Elemental Raid. She ordered as her monster fired a blue laser and a sphere of fire at the sacred beast and its owner and said sacred beast was destroyed in an instant. Hajimaru 8800 1200 equals 6000. Jaden breathed out slowly at getting rid of the first sacred beast, Yuria, that's all for now, Naruto you're up. Naruto 4000. But first off I activate the spell card double summon and I'll use it to summon Bright Star Dragon and the tuner monster Delta Flyer. Naruto said as a white dragon carrying a full moon scythe and a brown dragon built for speed appeared next to one another. I can synchro summon any of my dragons, but only one of them can do me any good right now. I activate Delta Flyer's ability to raise its level by 1 and Bright Star Dragon to raise its level 2. Bright Star Dragon LV4 to 6 Dragon 1900 at 0 def. Delta Flyer LV3 to 4 Dragon Tuner 1500 at 900 def. You've seen XYZ summoning, now you're about to see Synchro summoning. I tune my level 4 Delta Flyer and level 6 Bright Star Dragon. When one monster joins another a new power is born, one of the shining light, I Synchro summoned Ascension the Supreme Sky Dragon. He said as the Delta Flyer turned into rings and wrapped around Bright Star before a light engulfed them both. In their place a large silver and blue Chinese-like dragon with gold trimmings and wing-like attachments on its arms. Please look it up, it's just too awesome to describe in my words alone and I'm using its Japanese effect. Ascension the Supreme Sky Dragon Synchro Dragon 0 at 3000 def. Ascension's attack points are equal to the amount of cards in my hand and I have 2. Now I activate the second effect of Castle of Dragon Souls and remove from play my Eclipse Wyvern and give my dragon an extra 700 attack points, and because I removed Eclipse Wyvern from the game, I can add Felgrin Dragon to my hand. Ascension the Supreme Sky Dragon 3000 at plus 700 equals 3700. Now go Star Stream. Naruto ordered as Stardust fired a beautiful colored beam at Kajimaru and took a major chunk of Kajimaru's life points. If anybody had paid attention to Naruto they would have seen him clutching his left arm in pain. Kajimaru 3700 equals 2300. I set a card face down and end my turn. Ascension's attack points return to 3000. Naruto said as his beast roared to show its dominance. Alright, they're winning. Cirrus cheered. Well, not for long. My draw and I by sending one trap card to the graveyard I can bring Yuria back 1000 attack points stronger, he said as Yuria was resurrected in a tower of flame at 4000 ATK. Next I set 3 spell cards face down and send them all to the graveyard to summon Haman Lord of Striking Thunder. He said as the 3 spells froze over before flying towards another spire. The spire turned to crystal as a large demon bird-like monster with large pincers and horns appeared as lightning erupted from its very soul. Haman Lord of Striking Thunder LV10 Thunder 4000 at 4000 def. Next I replace your field spell with mine. Lost Paradise, he said as the city collapsed only to be replaced by a barren wasteland. This card allows me to draw an extra card for every sacred beast on my field. Now Yuria destroys your face down card. Naruto now go Haman destroyed Recension with Imperial Lightning and Yuria destroy Tempest Hell's Inferno. I activate Tempest's ability and send Burstinatrix to the graveyard to protect Tempest from being destroyed. She said. But you still take the damage. Kajimaru yelled as Naruto's was destroyed in a flash and Tempest survived a storm of fire. And when Haman destroys a monster the owner takes 1000 points of damage. Jaden 1200 equals 2800. Naruto 4000 1000 equals 2000. That's all for now, Kajimaru said as Delta Flyer and Bright Star Dragon appeared in a flash of light back on Naruto's field. This is another effect of my dragon. When he is destroyed he is sent back to my extra deck and the monsters I used to summon him are revived, Naruto explained as Kajimaru growled. You annoying pest, let me show you the power of these beasts. Kajimaru said as the power from the collected dual spirits flowed into him and his body began to grow younger and not to mention stronger. His hair turned brown and his wrinkles disappeared. He then broke out of the glass tubing before tossing the spider-like dual machine about half a mile away. Behold the power of the sacred beasts. The boss help me, Ahama Yellow said as he began withering away. Quit whining you big baby. Chaz yelled as he once again turned back towards the duel. Naruto merely raised an eyebrow. Where did you get the loincloth? Hold up, better question, couldn't you just have used some Viagra if you wanted to feel young again? Silence, complete and utter silence as the former Shadow Rider just insulted the man who wields 2 sacred beasts and had reversed-aged himself by commenting on his sex life. PPPHHHFT. Bwahahaha. Everyone laughter in Kura and Pharaoh's case snicker, even the sacred beasts were chuckling as Kajimaru's face grew red in anger and embarrassment before he roared, you brat, I set a card face down and end my turn. Jaden 2800. My move then, the Slifer began. First off I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards and I'll play one of them Defusion and defuse my Tempest back into Avian, Sparkman and Bubbleman all in defense mode. Then I activate Hero Draw and draw a card for every hero monster in play and there are 5, so that's 5 cards. Next I activate Metamorphosis and tribute Bubbleman to special summon Neo Bubbleman. She said as a sharper version of Bubbleman appeared in the original's place. Elemental Hero Neo Bubbleman LV4 Warrior 800 at 1200 def. I'm equipping him with Bubble Blaster, giving him an 800 attack point boost, now go destroy Yuria. She ordered, much to the shock of everyone else. Is she suicidal? Everyone exclaimed except Naruto. I hope you know what you're doing, J-chan. You've finally given up. Ha, figures Yuria counterattack, Kajimaru said as Yuria fired off a stream of fire only for it to be extinguished and Yuria destroyed with neither side losing life points. Nani? Everyone cried out before Naruto snapped his fingers. I forgot when Neo Bubbleman battles a monster that monster is automatically destroyed. Jaden grinned, yep, and because I equipped him with Bubble Blaster, I take no damage as long as I get rid of it, she boasted, puffing her chest out. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Pretty risky move, you know, Naruto chuckled. Jaden shrugged, that's just the way I duel. Naruto 2000. I draw, and since I have no monsters in the graveyard, I can summon Guardian Itos in attack mode, and I'll bring back my old friend Recension in defense mode, Naruto said as he retuned his monsters, and the winged blonde-haired woman from earlier flew down to his side. Guardian Itos LV8 Fairy 2500 at 2000 def. Recension, 2000 at 3000 def. Next I'm going to do something a bit crazy, I'm fusing my trap card Castle of Dragon Souls. Naruto said. What? The gang yelled. You can't fuse trap cards and monsters. Cirrus yelled. Well, with the Fang of Krishas I can, I'm merging the two so I can form a new monster, Imperial Soul Dragon. Naruto said as a blackish and purplish dragon with blue crystal on its forehead appeared on the field and gave off a large roar. This power is on par with my sacred beasts, Kajimaru sputtered in disbelief. Krishas and the trap card fused into one large dragon made of rock and metal, appeared on field as it unfurled a large pair of wings that were ghostly white. This card is one of the dragons I was chosen by, problem is I still can't use them all without a slight drawback. Heck, even summoning Recension and Krishas takes a lot of power. Imperial Soul Dragon LV8 Dragon 3400 at 2800 def. Due to Imperial Soul Dragon's effect I can remove my Bright Star Dragon and give my Soul Dragon an extra 800 attack points. ISD, 3400 at plus 800 equals 4200 at. Now go Soul Rage Shot. Naruto said as his dragon fired a soul white beam through the God of Thunder. Hajimaru 2300 200 equals 2100. It's over, Guardian Itos and Recension finished this die. He ordered. Not so fast, I activate negate attack and well negate your attack. DCH I set 2 card face down and end my turn. Hajimaru 2100. I activate Resurrection Tribute and destroy Neo Bubbleman and bring back Heyman and discard a trap card to bring back Yuria at 5000 attack points. Next I activate the spell card Phantasmal Martyrs to summon 3 phantasmal tokens by discarding 2 cards, he said as Heyman and Yuria arrived back on the field in their respective elements before 3 ugly-ass blue demon tokens appeared on his field. Heyman LV10 Thunder 4000 at 4000 def. Yuria LV10 Pyro 5000 at 5000 def. Phantasmal tokens LV1 Fiend 0 at 0 def x3. Now I bring out the final beast, by sacrificing my 3 tokens I summon Raviel Lord of Phantasms. He finished as a giant and more ugly version of the tokens appeared from the final pillar. Raviel Lord of Phantasms LV10 Fiend 4000 at 4000 def. The Hama Yellow. Chaz cried as his subordinate was all bone. What's going on? Alexis asked. Hundreds of dual spirits floated toward Raviel before being absorbed. Even their own cards began to turn blank. I activate the spell card Deity Strike and inflict piercing damage. Now go my monsters. Kajimaru ordered. I activate Half Unbreak and Damage Diet from my graveyard, cutting the damage into 4 and no monster can be destroyed by battle, Naruto said. No matter, I'll finish you both next turn. Raviel attack Avian, Yuria attack Guardian Itos and Heyman attack Avian as well. He ordered as the 3 beasts launched their own signature attack and dealt a crippling blow towards the duo. Jaden 2800 750 750 equals 1300. Naruto 2625 equals 1375. There won't be a next turn for you, Jaden said as she drew Banner's card. The Philosopher's Stone. She then saw a strange little light escape from Pharaoh's mouth and float towards her, before a very familiar voice spoke to both duelists. Jaden, Naruto, you must listen to me, Banner's soul began. You must work together to finish him off. Good luck. You heard the floating spirit, Jay. Let's finish this old man. Naruto declared as he began to radiate a bursting purple and crimson aura. Naruto raised his hand and lightly flicked her forehead. That's mine line, you know. He said as the top card of Naruto's deck glowed a bright purple, as did a card an extra deck holder. His extra deck opened before a golden card flew into Jaden's hand. This card it's beautiful," she said before smiling at Devil. "It's over Kajimaru. First off I pay half my life points to activate use Philosopher's Stone, and for my first card I pick his Hero's Hotline, which allows me to add 2 elemental hero Bubbleman and Clayman to my hand. Jaden 1300 650 equals 650. Next I activate the card as Miracle Fusion, and I'm making the strongest hero out there, so I'm fusing my elemental hero Avian, Burstinatrix, Clayman, and Bubbleman to call out elemental hero Electrum, but I got one more philosopher counter, so I'm using the card as Monster Reborn to bring back elemental hero Flame Wingman, and then I'm using my face down card as elemental level, which changes my Sparkman to a level 6. Why you ask? It's so I can overlay these two together to summon elemental hero Lady Shining Hope. She declared as her 2 heroes flew into a portal before it exploded, a white long-haired female teen with blue eyes and white wings appeared on the field. Her outfit consisted of a skin-tight golden uniform that reached all the way down her shapely legs. The top left her shoulders bare, leaving a bit cleavage open, as well as 2 elbow-length gloves. Elemental hero Lady Shining Hope R6 Warrior 2800 at 1800 def. Jaden 650 325 equals 325 112.5 equals 112.5. Cirrus like many of the other males had a mild blush on their face. Wow, she's cute. When she's summoned I can remove a hero monster, and I choose E-Hero Wildheart from my deck. She also gains 200 ACK for every hero removed play, and by my count there's 5. The hero Lady Shining Hope 2800 at minus 3800 ACK. Fine, but I gained 2 fiend tokens since you summoned a monster. Doesn't matter, I activate the last effect of Philosopher's Stone and equip it onto Electrum whose attack points multiply by 5 since you have 5 monsters on your field. Electrum, 2900 plus 2900 plus 2900 plus 2900 plus 2900 equals 14,500. What? 14,500 attack points? Kajimaru yelled. Now go Electrum, destroy Raviel. She declared before Kajimaru laughed in response. I activate the trap card known as God's Shield, which fires your own attack right back at you and switches one of my beasts to defense mode at the cost of half my life points. Kajimaru 3500 to 1750 equals 1750. Jaden chuckled. Wrong again old man, I remove an overlay unit from Shining Hope to negate an attack and then she gains attack points equal to the negated monster, she said as Shining Hope's attack points jumped up to 18,300. Now destroy Raviel with ultimate radiant burst. She declared as her monster shot a single finger beam towards Raviel before it diverted to Haman. You cannot attack any other monster when Haman is in defense mode and I take no other damage this turn. Naruto 1350. I move then, I fuse my Drescension with the Claw of Hermos, another one and special dragons to form the Blazing Sky Sword and I'll equip it to Eidos. He said as Drescension fused with a redished dragon with a single horn on its snout in front of its yellow eyes as they changed into a clear blue longsword with engravings written along the side. The Blazing Sky Sword allows me to combine the attack points of all the monsters on my side and on my partner's side of the field, but no other monster can attack. Guardian Eidos 2500 plus 3400 plus 14,500 plus 18,300 equals 38,700 attack points. Guardian Eidos end this with the Book of Ends / he ordered as his guardian sliced clean through Raviel. Kajimaru 2100 to 38,700 equals a lot more than 0. Nuo. Kajimaru yelled as he was knocked back off his feet and into the ground. Duel end winner Naruto and Jaden. Naruto stares disbelievingly, we won, alright. He yells before he had to catch Jaden's flying hug tackle. Soon the gang runs over to the victors as they cheered before a cough from Kajimaru's old form gains their attention as they walk over. All I wanted was to live my life in my prime for the rest of my life, Kajimaru stated as Naruto interrupted, it's not uncommon to fear death you know. But you gotta realize something, growing old is something everyone has to go through, it's a part of life. We grow old and guess what, we die, but if you spend with those that care for you, then it shouldn't really that scary. Come on, time to get up, Naruto stated as he offered a hand to the downed mastermind. But I tried to kill you. So did like 37 other wanted bad guys, but they all fell before my might, wahaha. Naruto laughed as the other's sweat dropped a bit before Jaden held out her hand as well, as silly as he may be, he's right, come on Gramps. She stated as they helped Kajimaru up only for Jaden to hug him too tightly and break his fragile back and had his helicopter carry him away on a stretcher. Alright, let's go home, Shepard said as everyone began walking back to the academy. Naruto stayed there a moment longer as he looked towards the sky for a second before a feminine hand turned him around before he felt a pair of lips kiss his whiskered cheek that was soon followed up by another two, one on each cheek. He turned around with a large blush and saw Jaden, Z, and Alexis standing around with coy smiles, before Z commented, "That was pretty sweet, and from your face, I guess so was that." His brain overloaded and passed out as Kura jumped on his stomach and decided to snuggle with her father figure, getting a light giggle from the girls. "You did well today, Naru-kun, even if I didn't get battle with Timaz," Mana said from the air next to an exhausted Itos. "Come on Ni-chan, let's go." Interesting, a cloaked figure standing in the sky began. He was able to control a dual dragon, as well as two of the legendary dragons. "Naruto Uzumaki, you will make an excellent husband." On the roof of Duel Academy, one Naruto Uzumaki stared at the rising sun with an amused smile as he thought about his short time at the academy. If he was telling the truth, the time he spent here has actually been the best week of his life. He met skilled duelists that later became his friends, even 3 equally cute girls. Principal Shepard actually made him an offer to come to Duel Academy next year, but he still didn't know whether or not he would accept. He didn't want the nation coming after him, and with that last stunt he pulled, they would definitely be coming after him. Before he could finish his thoughts, his crimson fox licked his cheek with a happily wagging tail and began yipping in pure excitement. "Alright Kura, ready 5 4 3 2 1 0 and," Naruto delayed as loud boom was heard across the island. A girlish scream rang across the island. "And boom goes the dynamite, ah, such sweet music to my ears," Naruto chuckled, as did his fox. "Biggle, you sure are enjoying it here at Duel Academy, aren't you Nana-kun?" The dark magician girl asked as she sat next to the whiskered blonde and pulled Kura into her lap and began petting the fox. The only thing that was different was that she wasn't wearing her hat, letting all of her blonde hair be seen. Naruto fell on his back and looked up at the clouds in the sky. "It's not too bad, plenty of nice people, good food, and most importantly so many people to prank." Naruto chuckled evilly as group of male students fled the girls' dorm covered in feathers. Especially the perverts. "Ara, don't forget about the cute girls," Mana added in. "And the cute guy, wait, dark magician girl, say what?" The magician giggled. "You heard me Nana-kun, you think the girls on this island are cute, especially those 2 obelisk females and the Slifer female." "I have no idea what you're talking about," Naruto stuttered, much to the blonde magician's amusement. "Come on, you can tell me, is it the short skirt that attracts you?" she asked, slightly lifting up her really short skirt to the side, getting a stutter from a very red-faced Naruto. "Or is my Nana-kun more of a breast man?" she asked, pulling her shirt just enough so he could catch a glimpse of her C-cup cleavage, getting the blonde duelist to blush as red as a tomato and completely freeze up, getting another chuckle from the blue-eyed magician. "Pervert," Naruto whispered before he felt something claw at his jacket. He looked down to see an orange and black striped kitten with seafoam green eyes and 2 tails trying to climb onto his shoulder. "Hey Nakamyasum, you done with your pranking?" he asked, picking up the kitten and sitting her on his shoulder, only for the kitten to climb from his shoulder to his head. Mana gave a warm smile. "I still remember the day we met." "As do I," a new voice interjects as the 2 blondes turn towards the source, revealing a now fully healed Guardian Itos sitting next to the pair. "Are you okay, I-chan? I was afraid I had pushed you too hard," Naruto said, giving her a one-armed hug. I am fine, and Naruto-sama," she stuttered with a light pink dusting across her cheek, only to get flicked in the head and get a light scolding from the crimson-haired blonde about being called Sama. "Naruto, do you remember the day we first met?" the magician asked. Naruto chuckled before he smiled a somewhat warm smile. "Of course I do, after all it was the day I gained 2 more members to my family." Flashback. A small 7-year-old Naruto was swinging by himself in an empty park, looking quite happy for some reason. This Naruto only had blonde hair and both of his eyes were blue, and the only marks on his face were the 3 whisker marks on each of his cheeks. The reason was because he wasn't really alone. You see, the city of Konoha was filled with dual spirits, including his own Goster cards, and he can see them quite easily. His own monsters were all over the park, either causing chaos or just chilling out. Only Goster Kukiana and Goster Werewolf W were by his side. "Hey look, it's the freak," a childlike voice sneered. Naruto looked towards the source only to see the famous child prodigy Sasuke Uchiha and his gang of fangirls. Sasuke Uchiha was a pompous child who had been given everything he ever wanted as a child, born to the CEO of the Uchiha Corporation, and treated everyone else as dirt. When you had something he wanted, he just took or told his father, and then your family would pay the price for it. The little black-haired kid was a real jackass if you ask Naruto. Naruto merely closed his eyes and continued to swing, even as Goster Werewolf growled as the arrogant child strode forward looking all high and mighty. "Give me your cards," Sasuke demanded as he and everyone else in the city knew of the blonde's one-of-a-kind cards. As far as anyone knew, Naruto was the only person to have any Goster cards whatsoever. So why shouldn't an almighty elite like him have those rare cards instead of a worthless orphan who probably doesn't even know how to use them? Blue eyes open in the request only to stare at the Uchiha showing no emotion in his eye before he pulled down his eyelid and wiggled his tongue at the other kids. He closes them and pulls in his tongue as he continues to swing, no. Sasuke fumed, how dare you deny me an elite like me. That freak should be honored to have an Uchiha claim his cards. Yeah, how dare you deny Sasuke-kun. His fangirl group yelled unison. I'm not denying an elite, I'm denying you, Naruto stated. Why you? Sasuke growled, duel me if when I win I get your Goster cards. Before Naruto once again refused, his eyes widened as he saw two spirits appeared behind Sasuke, both female blondes. One was obviously a magician dressed in a skimpy blue outfit that actually looked cute instead of sexy. Her bust was a mid-C which was completely ignored by the child as his eyes were focused on her blue eyes. The other was dressed in a tribal Indian outfit that exposed her toned midriff and complemented her slightly larger bust. Overall she looked quite beautiful, as did her brown eyes. They looked quite sad actually, and the aura they radiated just screamed for someone to end it before their eyes locked onto his form and a look of curiosity replaced their looks of sadness. Naruto sighed before looking towards his two monsters, silently asking for permission, and when they nodded he whistled. All throughout the park the tricksters narrowed their eyes before flying, floating, running or swimming to their master. This was going to be fun. Around a minute later both children were ready to brawl before Naruto asked out of pure curiosity, what would you do to my cards if you do somehow manage to win? Sasuke smirked, I'll mass produce my cards and then make some improvements to them for myself in new cards before burning the originals. Naruto froze before he began to imagine his friends being burned just so no one else could have them. It made him so it really ticked him off. He growled as his right eye turned red and his hair gained a slight crimson sheen on the eye, I'll finish this in 3 turns. He muttered barely above a whisper. Duel start. Naruto 4000. Sasuke 4000. I'll go first, Naruto said as he drew a card. First off I set one monster face down and throw 3 cards face downs and end my turn. Sasuke 4000. Pathetic, Sasuke sneered, let me show you a real turn, since there are no monsters in my graveyard I can special summon Guardian Edos in attack mode. The Indian tribe-like woman appeared in a swarm of feathers as she took his place on his field. Guardian Edos LV8 Fairy 2500 at 2000 def. I'm not done because next up I summon Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV4. He finished as a silver chicken-like dragon appeared in a flame. Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV4 Dragon 1600 at 1000 def. Now go my monsters, destroy that trash. He ordered as his monsters rushed to attack the crimson and blonde-haired boy who was completely calm. I activate M-Trap card Gostric Possession. It's a powerful trap card that allows me to take one monster on your side of the field when you attack a face-down monster on my field. As long as this card is face-up, Guardian Edos is in my possession. He said as Guardian Edos was encased in a purple and white force and soon floated over to the non-jackass's side. Sasuke growled, doesn't matter, my Horus will still destroy your face-down monster. No, you won't. I activate my second trap card Gostric Retreat. This trap card switches your attack to my Guardian Edos instead. He said as Edos quickly cleaved through the Egyptian dragon. Sasuke 4900 equals 3100. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Naruto 4000. My turn, Naruto began only to be interrupted by Sasuke who activated the magic card Scapegoat, giving him 4 tokens. Naruto continued with a low grow, I flip summon Gostric Mummy and because I did I can activate its ability to grab an extra summon for this turn. I summon Gostric Werewolf and Gostric Stein. A blue-eyed werewolf with light brown fur and a blue-skinned Frankenstein appeared next to one another. Gostric Werewolf LV3 Zombie 1400 at 1500 def. Gostric Stein LV3 Zombie 1600 at 0 def. Thank you, a female voice spoke to Naruto, and when said Crimson Blonde looked around for the source, only to see the monster known as Edos, looking towards his form with a sincere smile on her face. I need your assistance for a little while longer, I beg you please save Mana, I will do whatever it takes please. Naruto nodded in response. Oh my friends, take out his tokens in one shot, he ordered as his monsters destroyed those tokens fairly quickly. During my turn I can flip my Gostric monsters into face-down defense mode, that's all I end my turn. Sasuke 3100. I activate my trap card Vengeance Summon. When you destroy monsters on my side of the field, I can summon an equal amount to the number of monsters you destroyed on your last turn at the cost of half my life points, negating their abilities and my normal summon for this turn. Sasuke 3100 to 1550 equals 1550. I summon from my deck Tyrant Dragon, Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV6, Dark Magician Girl and Dark Storm Dragon. He said as an orange-skinned dragon with a green gem on its forehead, a flying silver dragon, the other cute blonde girl from earlier, and a two-winged black dragon with its lower half wrapped in a tornado, appeared in a crimson-black aura. Tyrant Dragon LV8 Dragon 2900 at 2500 def. Horus the Black Flame LV6 Dragon 2300 at 1600 def. Dark Magician Girl LV6 Spellcaster 2000 at 1700 def. Darkstorm Dragon LV8 Dragon 2700 at 2500 def. Mana. Ito said as the Dark Magician Girl looked up and smiled brightly at the Guardian monster. Now go my beasts. Tyrant Dragon attack that traitorous Guardian Itos, Darkstorm attack that Werewolf, Horus attack Mummy and Dark Magician Girl attack that Frankenstein. He ordered as each creature charged up an attack. Alright go Sasuke-kun. His fangirls roared in amazement as their Sasuke was about to destroy this loser. I activate my third trap card negate attack to block your attack and end your battle phase. Naruto said. DCH I end my turn. Sasuke said. Why don't you just give up, there's no possible way you could win. Naruto 4000. Naruto just stared at the self-proclaimed prodigy because you said you would burn my cards and that really pissed me off. My draw and I activate the spell card Change of Heart which allows me to take control of one of your monsters. No my Tyrant Dragon. Sasuke yelled with actual worry on his voice until his Dark Magician Girl moved over to Naruto's side. I don't want your Tyrant Dragon, so I'll take your Dark Magician Girl instead. Naruto stated. Sasuke just looked at Naruto like he had lost his damn mind until he started laughing. Ha 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 ha. Not only are you a freak, but now you're also an idiot. He yelled as did his fangirls who all just wouldn't shut the hell up. Thank you, Dark Magician Girl muttered as she looked towards the blonde child. Mada Dane, it's still my move, it's the third and final turn, Naruto stated. I flip summon Gostrick Werewolf, whose effect allows me to inflict you with 100 points of damage for every set card, and currently there are 2 Sasuke 1550 200 equals 1350. Next I'll flip Gostrick Mummy and Gostrick Stein, and then I'll overlay my level 3 Gostrick Stein, my level 3 Gostrick Mummy, and my level 3 Gostrick Werewolf to XYZ summon Gostrick Prince. He said as his 3 zombie monsters turned different shades of purple and vanished into a black portal at Naruto's feet. Out of the portal appeared a black-haired teen male with his hair down to his shoulders, wearing a very pretty blue kimono and a golden crown. He would be a normal boy if it weren't for the large purple bat wings located on his back as he glared at the dragon monsters with dark red eyes. Gostrick Princess R3 Zombie 2100 at 1500 def. I activate one of his effects, by removing an overlay unit I can flip all your monsters face down for this turn, he said all of Sasuke's cards were flipped face down. Next up I'm activating the field spell Gostrick Mansion, this field spell allows me to bypass your monsters if they're all face down, now please finish this you 3. He ordered as his 3 monsters just wiped away the rest of Sasuke's life points and sent the boy flying from the field. Sasuke 1350 to 1000 to 1250 to 2100 equals 0. Sasuke was blown into a tree and fell into unconsciousness as his fangirls crowded around him. All of his cards were thrown into the air. Naruto raised his hand and plucked Guardian Itos and Dark Magician Girl from the sky. I wonder if I should let them rape him, Naruto wondered before the 2 blonde females appeared before him on one knee. Please don't bow. You're free to do whatever you want. Mana began, can we join you instead? She said with the puppy dog eyes getting the boy to fold in mere seconds. Itos continued, we believe it would be better for us and you to join forces. Fine, but I swear call me Sama, I'll bop you on the head. He said with a childlike glare that turned into a full-blown blush as each female blonde placed a kiss on each of the blonde's whiskered cheeks. We have such a cute master, right Itos? Mana said. That we do Mana. Flashback end. Mana chuckled as Naruto gained a red hue across his face, I'm guessing that's a yes, she stated as the bell for Duel Academy rang across the island. Naruto hopped to his feet before he picked up the sleeping fox kit from the now pouting Dark Magician Girl and cradled her like a baby. Time to go, Shepard wanted to know my decision when school class started. What are you going to do? Mana asked with a hint of worry in her tone that was shared by Itos. Naruto chuckled, I think I'm going to need a pair of rubber chickens. A bucket of tar, lots of butter, about 24 pairs of rubber gloves, a plunger, a few sets of golf clubs. Don't forget about the condoms and birth control, Mana added in. Right, condoms and BBB birth control. Naruto yelled as his face grew red as a tomato and he stumbled out the door getting a very loud laugh from the female magician. Please stop making such lecherous comments, Mana, Itos chastened. But he's such a cute but oblivious boy, it's too much fun. He has a lot to learn if he wants to achieve his dream, Mana said before a lecherous grin appeared on her cute face as she vanished and reappeared behind Ito's, and her hands went up inside Ito's shirt as Ito's blushed heavily with wide eyes, especially if these other girls all want a piece of that nice tan blonde Adonis ass. Mana. Break. In the office of Chancellor Shepard. Alright Z, since you have the highest markings and retained the highest ranking, you may choose any opponent for your final duel at this academy, Shepard said. Whether you win or lose, you will still be one of the best duelists we have ever had the honor to teach. He finished as the Cyber Dragon user bowed to her teacher. Thank you, Chancellor Shepard, she replied as she raised her head and crossed her arms under her covered low D-cup breasts, enhancing their size by habit. Am I allowed to choose any opponent as long as they're on the island? I think I know where you're going with this, Shepard began. Alright, I approve, and it will take place at noon today, and as much as I don't want to, I think you are strong enough to have the rest of the Cyber Legacy, but only after the duel. He finished, getting a surprised look from the Cyber Dragon user. Z bowed once again. Thank you, Shepard-sensei. Thank you for being a wonderful student, and by the way, don't forget to find a good boyfriend, or did you already find a candidate? Shepard chuckled as Z uncharacteristically blushed and hurried out the door, only to bump into the blonde ex-Shadow Rider and get knocked to the ground. My bad Z-chan, Naruto apologized as he pulled the obelisk blue female up, but he overestimated how much strength to use and accidentally pulled her into his 5'8" slightly taller lean form. Said female stuck her hands out and pushed off the cute blonde about 2 seconds after landing on his chest. D, don't worry about it, she said, basically running out of the office with a slight pink dusting across her cheeks. Naruto tilted his head to the side. I wonder if she's okay, she looked a bit red. Shepard just face-palmed and dabbed his forehead with his pocket hanky. Come in, Naruto-kun, how are you doing? He asked as the blonde sat down and just chuckled evilly. I'm doing just fine, this is a really nice school you got here, Naruto said, leaning back in his seat until his senses went haywire. He then jumped onto the ceiling holding Kura and Nakamyasume and stayed there as the office door slid open and a very funny and strange sight ran through his door. It was Professor Crowler, but he was covered in red chicken feathers complete with an orange face and a yellow set of tail feathers. Where is he? Where is that tricky little boy? Crowler yelled as he began stomping around looking for the blonde prankster he knew was responsible for this heinous crime. I know you can hear me, and I swear when I find you, you will wish you would have never been born, you brat. The Chancellor tried to stifle his laugh until it came out as a full-blown laugh as he laughed right out his boss chair. Wahahaha. I can't take it. He said as Crowler stomped out the office in a rage looking for the foxy duelist. Such an easy target, the heterochrome blonde said as he fell from the ceiling and landed back in the chair like a boss. So what did you call me in here for, Chancellor? Shepard lifted himself back into his chair, still laughing. Ahem, I would like to know your answer to coming to Duel Academy next year, so will you consider it? He asked. What the two didn't know was that outside the door a familiar gang of students listening in on their conversation. Outside the door. Hey, move over, I want to hear what they're saying, an obelisk blue female whispered. Shut up, I can't hear when you're talking. This time a yellow Ra whispered as she and the rest of the group of female students pressed their ears into the wall, trying to listen in on the stud on campus's conversation until. What are you doing? SSSSHHHH. We're trying to listen in on the conversation between Shepard and the hot new guy. Jaden tilted her head to the side. Hot new guy. Yeah, a really cute blonde boy with 3 whisker-like marks and has a pair of heterochrome eyes, the same obelisk blue from earlier began. His left eye is a gentle ocean blue, while his right eye is a striking crimson red, and on top of it, he's just so dreamy. So you mean Naruto, Alexis Rhodes said with a bit more steel in voice than normal. Why don't we just leave him alone, so he can have his conversation with Chancellor Shepard in peace, right Jaden? She asked, no longer seeing the lovable brown-haired girl beside her. Said Slifer Red was pressing her ear on the wall, attempting to listen in on her fellow blonde's conversation. Oh, come off it, Lex, you know you want to hear this too. Jaden said with a smile as she patted the spot next to her. Alexa sulked for a moment before she took the spot next to Jaden. Fine, but only because of my curiosity, she grumbled as she pressed her ear to the door as well. Break. So let me get this straight, Shepard said with a completely serious expression. You fled your home due to prejudice and set off what might be the greatest prank in history, while managing to piss off many people and avoid a Yandir hell-bent on having your child and you wrapped around her finger, is that all? He asked with a small sweat drop. Naruto counted on his fingers. Let's see, I planted a red paint bomb in the pipes of the villages, sprayed the compounds with dog pheromones, anything else I'm forgetting, Kura? He asked his crimson fox, getting a few yips in response. Oh yeah, I forgot about the laxatives in the brownies. Massaging his temples, the Chancellor laughed bitterly. I don't know whether to fear the safety of my students or give you a badge for the head of the new disciplinary squad I'm starting next year. Naruto raised an eyebrow. I think both would be appropriate, but do you really want me at your school? He said as his tone became serious. Wherever I go chaos will ensue, and I'm positive your school won't be any different. Shepard smirked in response, trust me boy, it's no trouble whatsoever, our students are strong enough to fight against any impending threat, plus I think it will do you some good to stop having to look over your shoulder anymore and actually enjoy being a teenager. Alright old man, I'll come to Duel Academy next year, Naruto said as he could have sworn he heard multiple squeals very close by. For the summer I'll be in the Synchro country and the XYZ country visiting my family's old stomping ground for a while. I hope you will be safe and please be in the Duel arena at noon today for a special event today, Shepard said with an underlining smirk. Alright, Naruto said with a quick shrug before he and his two furry companions walked out the office with a small snicker until he saw a large group of females running down the hall away from Shepard's office. That's strange. The two animals could only stare at their caretaker with something akin to annoyance for him and worry for any girls attempting to get with him and mate. Break. I can't believe it's such a hot guy as an incoming second year. An obelisk blue squealed as did her companions. Oh chill out girls, Alexis began, just because he's cute doesn't mean he will be looking for a girlfriend, in fact he might already have one. She said with a slight gleam of sadness in her brown eyes until Jaden placed a hand on her shoulder. I'm not so sure Lex, I could see something in his eyes during his duel with me, but at the time I couldn't place it, but now I recognize it, it's loneliness, she stated with a small frown. I mean what kind of friend let alone girlfriend would leave a nice guy like him alone, I can't even see why he's cute, nice, and has a spark I have never seen before that just wants to make me I mean he's just so nice and cute. She finished waving her hands in front of her tomato red face as Alexis gave her an all-knowing smirk. Oh my, Mindy, the black-haired obelisk blue friend of Alexis, chuckled along with the obelisk blue red-haired Jasmine, it seems our two non-boy crazed girls have finally found a target for their hormones. Shut up. Alexis yelled as she stomped towards the Duel arena that was closely followed by a still tomato red Jaden. Break. The students of Duel Academy sat in the seats of the arena, eagerly awaiting the last announcement Chancellor Shepard has to make for this semester. Said Chancellor walked through the shadowed hallway, followed by a still orange chicken Professor Crowler and Z Truesdale. In the stands Jaden was looking around, has anybody seen Naruto? She asked with a hint of worry. The rest of the gang looked around for their favorite, besides Bastion, Shadow Rider, only to spot the two-tailed Crimson Fox, Kura walking along the railing over to them before she jumped into Alexis's arms and began licking her face. Lucky fox, Chaz muttered as the fox continued to lick Alexis's face, only for the fox to stop and freaking smirk at him and then continue to lick his crush's face. That flea-ridden furball. He thought. Hey Kura, where's your owner? She asked lightly scratching beneath the fox's muzzle. Said fox pointed one of her tails towards the seats Crowler and Shepard always sat in. Alright students, I present to you our number one student Z Truesdale. He declared as the spotlight shined on the strongest obelisk blue. Now since she has the highest marks she is allowed to challenge any duelist on the island, this is the graduation duel. Now Ms. Truesdale please pick your opponent. Shepard finished as he handed the mic over to Z Truesdale. Thank you Chancellor Shepard, it has truly been an honor to be a student here at Duel Academy, she began, I will always treasure the friendships I have made here and I hope you will all do the same. My opponent was a very difficult choice, but I'm positive my choice will influence you all to become better duelists. Cirrus couldn't help but wonder who his sister would call out, I think she's going to call Jaden. No way, she's probably going to call on the Chaz. The Chaz yelled in protest. No way, it's going to be Jaden. Chumley responded. Hey Alexis, how much you want to bet she's going to pick Naruto-kun? Jaden asked leaning over the railing. Alexis snorted a bit as she continued to pet the excited Kura, oh please, I don't take suckers' bets. My opponent for this duel is the chaotic fox Naruto Uzumaki. She declared. Yes. Holy shit. She yelled as her opponent literally appeared behind her within a split second and with the microphone still in her hand, her voice rang across the entire island. WW where the hell did you come from? She said breathing quite heavily. Naruto cutely tilted his head to the side gaining many squeals from the female populace, didn't we already have this conversation in the forest? Z just leveled him a soul-piercing glare that did nothing to the still upbeat Crimson banged blonde. We're dueling right now, she ordered. Why? Because I said so, she said. Why should I listen to you? Because I'm older. Big deal, let me ask another question, what's in it for me? Z actually pondered this for a second before she smirked somewhat evilly, one you get a surprise at the end of the duel, and I won't kick you in the balls. Naruto immediately began nodding with a pale face and his hands covering his crotch. Good now get ready to duel. She said as Naruto's arm was encased in a purple and black energy and his purple and black dual disc appeared. Cirrus, I think your sister really is a sadist, Bastion said, covering his crotch. I hate to say I told you so, wait no I don't, I goddamn told you so. Duel start. Z, 4000. Naruto 4000. Ladies first, Z said, I activate polymerization and fuse my 3 cyber dragons together to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. She said as her 3 mechanical dragons fused into the one and only very large 3-headed cyber dragon, the Cyber End Dragon. Cyber End Dragon LV10 machine 4000 at 2800 def. Next I'm activating card from a different dimension and then remove a card from play, then it comes back to me during my next standby phase, I set 1 card face down and that's all for now. Naruto 4000. Wow, busting out the big guns already, I'm impressed. Naruto said, getting Z to slightly puff up her chest at the compliment. My draw, and first off I'm activating double summon to set and then flip summon Gostrick Mummy, and when I flip summon a monster I can activate Gostrick Panic Rush to special summon Gostrick Witch and the extra normal summon I get from Mummy to summon Gostrick Jiangshi from my hand, then I'll set a card face down. He said as everyone's favorite Mummy appeared in a swirl of bandages, followed by a small blonde-haired witch and a child with a literal white face, and a tag on his forehead appeared next. Gostrick Mummy LV3 Zombie 1500 at 0 def. Gostrick Witch LV2 Spellcaster 1200 at 200 def. Gostrick Jiangshi LV3 Zombie 400 at 1800 def. Next I activate Gostrick Witch's effect to flip your Cyber End Dragon face down, he said as the small witch casted a spell and flipped Z's strongest monster face down, and then I'll overlay my level 3 Gostrick Mummy with my level 3 Gostrick Jiangshi to XYZ summon Gostrick Alucard. He said as the white-skinned figure in regal clothing appeared in a swarm of bats. Gostrick Alucard rank 3 Zombie 1800 at 1600 def. By removing an overlay unit your set Cyber End Dragon is destroyed, he began as her strongest monster was easily destroyed, now go my 2 Gostricks, time to dish out some damage, the 2 monsters tag teamed and basically witch pushed Z over Alucard's back. Z 1800 to 1200 equals 1000. I'll flip my Gostrick Witch face down and that's all for now, turn end. Z, 1000. And not bad at all, I draw and the card I removed from play due to card from a different dimension returns back to my hand. She said with a light grin at the level of play this guy had. First up I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards, I activate my face down Call of the Haunted and bring back my Cyber End Dragon. She said as she revived the mighty mechanized beast. Now go Cybernetic Blast. She declared. Not so fast, I activate my trap card Gostrick Scare. Naruto countered as his trap card glowed, this trap allows me to flip my Gostrick Witch into face-up defense mode and your Cyber Dragon back face down. Nice try, but I activate the spell card Defusion from my hand and send Cyber End Dragon back to my extra deck and summon the 3 Cyber Dragons used to make it form the graveyard onto my field. Cyber Dragon LV5 Machine 2100 at 1600 def x3. Well shit, Naruto said, lightly sweating at being stared down by 3 mechanical dragons. Now go my 3 Cyber Dragon Cybernetic Stream. She said as each of Naruto's monsters were taken out by 2 of the Cyber Dragons and the final launched a direct attack at him. Naruto 4300 2100 equals 1600. Due to the effect of Gostrick Alucard, I can return 1 Gostrick card back to my hand, Naruto said as his life points dropped quite quickly. I set 1 card face down and end my turn. Naruto 1600. I draw and I'll activate my own Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards, I'll activate the spell card Ghost Playback to bring back Gostrick Witch and Gostrick Mummy back from my graveyard at the cost of 500 life points each. He said as his 2 Trickster were reborn back onto his field and his life points took another major hit. Naruto 1600 to 1000 equals 600. As you know, I'm allowed an extra summon as long as the summon monster is a Gostrick, and I think I'll summon Gostrick Mary and Gostrick Yukiana. He said as the Lolita in the mirror appeared next to a small white-haired girl dressed in a white kimono and purple obi. I'll overlay my level 2 Yukiana with my level 2 witch to XYZ summon Gostrick Succubus. He said as his 2 spellcasters changed into energy and flew into a portal. Out of the portal appeared a very pretty red-haired female with 2 large batwings dressed in nothing but a pair of pantyhose and a bra carrying a pillow. Gostrick Mary the 55th1 Fiend 100 at 1600 def. Gostrick Yukiana LV2 Spellcaster 1000 at 800 def. Gostrick Succubus rank 2 Spellcaster 1400 at 1200 def. I now activate Succubus's effect and destroy 1 monster on your side of the field as long as it has less attack than combined attack of all the Gostrick monsters on my side of the field, he said as one of Z's Cyber Dragons was destroyed. Next up, since I destroyed one of your monsters with an effect of a Gostrick monster, I can activate the trap card G. Ominoes, it destroy all monsters on your field or in your deck with the same name, then you take 300 points of damage for every card sent to your grave. He said as Succubus destroyed Cyber Dragon with her pillow. No, seriously, she just threw the pillow at Cyber Dragon and poof, bye bye Cyber Dragons. That was soon followed by ghost spirits surrounding her other Cyber Dragons before they too were destroyed. Z 1900 equals 100. I activate my trap card Return Soul to return my 3 Cyber Dragons back to my deck, Z said with a wild gleam in her eyes. Not bad at all, good thing for you I can't activate my battle phase this turn due to G dominoes, that's all for now with a set card. Z 100. Z just stood with her eyes shadowed as her body began trembling, ha 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 ha. She laughed as did Naruto because as you know laughter is infectious as hell, unless you're dealing with some psycho bitch or asshole. Cirrus began quivering in fear and when asked why, all they could hear was, no I'll be good just don't bring Mr. Twinkles anymore. Somewhere far away. Achoo. Who dares to speak about the great Uchiha? Ah shut up you prick. Duel Academy. I don't think I've ever had this much fun in a duel. She said as the gleam in her eyes grew larger, it's my move and I activate the spell card Future Fusion to fusion summon from my deck Cyber End Dragon. She said as 2 of her Cyber Dragons merged into her ultimate Cyber Dragon. Cyber End Dragon LV10 4000 at 2800 def. You know I'm really starting to get sick of that card, Naruto complained as Z just stared at him with mirth and something he couldn't pinpoint in her eyes tapping on that last card in her hand. In the stands. So cool they just keep going back and forth, man oh man now I want to duel. Jaden said on the edge of her seat. Bet I could have done better, Chaz sulked. Cirrus just laughed nervously, yeah right. Back to the duel. Lucky for you Cyber End Dragon can't attack on the turn he summoned, so I'll throw down a face down and end my turn. Naruto 600. Alright then let's kick this into high gear. I activate the card Gostric Mix and Match, it allows me to fusion summon 1 monster from my extra deck, so by sending Gostric Succubus, Gostric Mummy, Gostric Mary and the Gostric Skeleton in my hand to fusion summon the first goddess Gostric Shinigami. He said as the 4 Gostrics merged to form a silver-haired woman in her early 20s. She was dressed in a silver cloak with a large 3-bladed scythe attached to her hand. Her purple eyes were filled with a mixed hint of curiosity and amusement. Just imagine Soto no Shirayuki. She then turned towards the blonde teen before glumping him and rubbing his head with her cheek and effectively smothering his face into her magnificent bust, much to the ire of the boys and girls of Duel Academy. Gostric Shinigami LV9 Divine 3300 at 3300 def. After Naruto had gotten the giggling goddess off he grinned manically, you see the requirement for Shinigami is 1 or more Gostric monsters, plus Gostric Skeleton, when you use 3 other monsters for the fusion like I did her ability changes, she can absorb the level and rank of the monsters used to summon her and add them to her own attack points x 200, she also no longer affected by spell cards. Gostric Shinigami 3300 plus 1800 equals 5100. Amazing. The students cried out in passion. Now go attack Cyber End Dragon and end this duel. He ordered as Shinigami brought her scythe down on Cyber End Dragon. Not so fast I activate the spell card Battle Fusion, increasing my monster's attack points by the total of your monster's attack. Z countered as her Cyber Dragon almost doubled in size. Cyber End Dragon 4000 plus 5100 equals 9100. You're pretty good, but my shiny is better you see she can absorb the effects of my opponent's spell cards and use them herself. He said as Shinigami absorbed the attack of the mechanized beast. Gostric Shinigami 5100 plus 9100 equals 14200. You know Naruto this might be, no this is the most fun I think I've ever had, she said as their 2 behemoths were about to clash. Naruto just chuckled, I had fun too if you ever want to get schooled again just call me. Are you flirting with me? Z asked in a fake surprised tone. Maybe you're cute enough to get my attention, Naruto countered getting the obelisk blue to blush just a bit, well Z it's been real fun, but this duel is mine, Gostric Shinigami finished this. Sorry but this duel is not over yet, I activate my trap card Final Fusion. This card takes both the attack points of our fusion monsters and deals it to damages both of us. 14,200 plus 9,100 equals 23,300. Nani? Naruto said as their vision was engulfed in a bright light before everything exploded and both duelists were blown back. Z100 to 23,300 equals 0. Naruto 600 to 23,300 equals 0. Raw. Around a minute later Naruto cracked an eye open until he hopped to his feet and groaned as he walked over to the now sitting Z and helped her up. Both duelists turned towards the still silent crowd, Naruto who had gotten fed up with their silence yelled out, well what do you think wasn't that one hell of a duel? That single sentence was the straw that broke the camel's back as the entire began cheering for the 2 seasoned duelists. So Z-chan wanna do this again sometime? Naruto asked with a fox-like grin on his face. Z just nodded. I almost forgot, here's your reward for the duel, she said as she slightly went on her tiptoes and kissed Naruto's cheek, getting said blonde to blush before fainting, eliciting a cute giggle from the obelisk blue female that earned her a glare from the other females in the vicinity. About a week later. So are you all ready to depart? Naruto asked his creatures that were either flying around and causing all sorts of chaos or sleeping by his side. Hi. They cheered her, in Kura's case yipped as several of them were shrouded in the shadows. Alright, let's go troll some idiots. He said as he touched the cheek Z, Alexis and even Jaden had smooched before he had left for the summer. Do you think they might have feelings for him? Nah, they were probably just being friendly. Well, hello big black voidy shiny eyes dragon, Naruto said. He began a new story, but that's for another time. End chapter. It was a bright and sunny day as the Duel Academy boat sailed back to its home with a fresh batch of new and returning students. Among the returning students, one male in particular was attracting a lot of attention, especially from the female populace. He was a handsome blonde teen with crimson in his hair and 3 whisker marks adorning each of his cheeks, playing against a 3-tailed crimson fox. He was dressed in a pair of blue jean pants and a slifer red hoodie with the kanji for trick and dragon labeled in black on the back of it. On his back was a large and long package wrapped up in bandages strapped across his back. Around his neck was a thin chain that led to a mini Excalibur. Fate Stay Night Saber's noble phantasm. Oh come on Kura. He said as the small red fox snickered, where did you even get a spellbinding circle card? I don't even have one of those. He asked as his monsters were wiped out by the spamming trap card. The fox growled at the blonde before leaping onto his head and curling up in a ball to go to sleep. The blonde only chuckled as he scratched behind the ears of the fox and nodded off along with the fox looking quite cute. Unknown to him, a feminine pair of brown eyes were glaring at him from across the room with an intense amount of curiosity in them. Looks like she was right, but this time he won't be able to run away from me on an island. He won't be able to escape from any of us anymore, the owner of the brown eyes thought. It looks like our little prince has another admirer, right? E-chan, the spirit of dark magician girl said to the floating spirit of guardian Itos. Mana remained relatively the same besides her increase of height by about 4 inches and the increase in her ahem assets above and below the waistline to a low D cup. Itos crossed her arms and Simple looked away from the smaller blonde and huffed with a cute pout and glare towards the new competition towards her foxy blonde hunk. Itos has also filled out below and above her waist to a mid D cup. I still don't like the fact he has to have a harem. Mana shrugged, I know it's a hard thing to accept, but I don't believe Naruto would be able to choose between us and any one other girl that makes her way into his heart, she said before an evil grin replaced her usual smile. She slowly crept up behind the angel-like guardian before tackling her, plus it is a bonus that I get more girls to love, she said as she leaned in closer to Ito's face with a large blush. Hey punk, an arrogant voice called out, getting the attention of the blonde. The voice belonged to Ryuk Casino, a brand new obelisk blue student who decent with his dragon cards, but has a view about to the feminine gender that makes him less than a decent guy, plus he wasn't all that good looking with shaggy brown hair and dark green eyes. I heard you almost beat that bitch C. Truesdale, that just means you're as weak as she. Anything else he wanted to say was halted as Naruto's fist impacted his face. Sometimes Naruto really did hate dumbasses, even if he could beat the ever-living crap out of every single one of the douchebags. Break. I can't believe my dream came true, Crowler said from Chancellor Chancellor Crowler's boss chair. I'm finally the Chancellor. He yelled, cackling manically. You mean the temporary Chancellor Crowler, a short man spoke out in a French accent. This man was partly bald at the top of his head. This is Crowler's replacement, Vice Chancellor Bonaparte. Now come on, we have to welcome the new students. Hold on 1 minute shorty, Crowler began, have you actually taken a look at these files on some of these students? Ashley Phoenix is here on campus. Ashley Phoenix? You mean the pro duelist who's never lost a duel? Bonaparte responded as Crowler nodded his head, what on earth would she be doing here? Your guess would probably be as good as mine, Crowler said, looking over the files of her and the other students. Odd, some of these students are powerful, too powerful for Duel Academy. What does this mean? Crowler thought. Break. I wonder where everyone is. Naruto wondered as he and his fox left the ship and wandered around the school until Kura pointed one of her black tipped tails towards the duel arena. Good idea, he said as the foxy duo made their way to the arena, taking note of the small amount of group following him. Interesting, he thought. Wanting to make a cool entrance, he walked to the top section of the indoor duel arena, and as he did he was instantly greeted by the sight of elemental hero Rampart Blaster firing his or her rockets at Cirrus as the cyan-colored haired boy's life points dropped to a solid 0. Kura yipped before jumping off the blonde's head and running to one of the lower levels. In the duel arena were Cirrus, Bastion, Chaz, Alexis and Jaden all talking about the incoming newbies and if there's anybody to be on the lookout for. Everyone looked relatively the same besides the outfits Jaden was dressed in. Gone was Jaden's short skirt and skin-tight shirt, now she was dressed in red boots with black knee socks and a pair of short shorts. She also had a tight black shirt with a red dress shirt and dark gray fingerless gloves. "So anybody to watch out for this year?" Jaden asked as she bounced around on her toes. Chaz nodded, "Quite a few actually, from what I've heard there's an increase of strong female duelists, but that doesn't mean there aren't males to watch out for as well." There were 5 duelists in particular, one was a female water-type duelist that completely dismantled the proctor. In the stands a pair of reddish-pink eyes narrowed in the stands. There was also a female plant-type duelist who barely beat the proctor, but you could tell she was holding back a lot. This time a pair of brown eyes narrowed. Cirrus interrupted, "Don't forget about the female thunder-type duelist who beat the proctor 2 turns." A pair of dark red eyes remained stoic from another part of the arena. "There was a male student that beat Ms. Fontaine," Alexa said before she frowned. "He was a total pervert and an asshole that said women shouldn't be handling a man's game and should be in either in the kitchen or the bedroom. He uses a warrior deck." A pair of green eyes gleamed as they zeroed in on the assets of Jaden and Alexis. "And you know he's going to be here soon," Jaden said until a small red blur tackled her onto the floor. "What?" she began, until she noticed it was a very familiar crimson-furred 3-tailed fox with black-tipped tails and ears. "Hurrah!" the gang shouted, Bastion said, "If she's here that means." "I'm back and better than ever, so beware," Naruto said from behind him with an arm hanging from over Jaden's shoulder. "Naruto." The gang said as each one greeted Naruto in their own way, from a noogie to Cirrus, to a fist bump from Chaz and Bastion, to finally a quick hug from Alexis and Jaden. "Man, you're a sight for sore eyes," Alexa said. You see, before Naruto had left the island he had gotten to know a few of the students and actually helped them out with some of their more personal problems. For example, he gave Cirrus just a bit of confidence to actually talk to a girl instead of just staring and running away. He made Bastion take a break from studying and Chaz just a bit less of an snob. Now he's still a snob, but just a bit friendlier to strangers and friends. Naruto grinned foxily. "Damn, didn't know I was that good looking," Naruto said. He scratched the back of his head. Yes, you are, Jaden," and Alexis thought with a quick lick of the lips as they saw Naruto's really well-built form. "Don't get too full of yourself," Chaz said with his arms crossed until Naruto pulled down his eyelid and wiggled his tongue, getting Chaz's left eye to tick. Noticing something out of the ordinary with their blonde friend, Cirrus spoke out, "Hey Naruto, what's with the package on your back?" Cirrus asked, referring to the package strapped across Naruto's back wrapped in white bandages. "Let's just call it an insurance policy for when dueling isn't enough for someone to get the message," he said with an all-too-sweet smile. The Crimson Blonde's grin quickly turned to a frown, much to the shock of the gang, as they had never seen Hedichrome teen frown. Now angry, yes, but that was in the case of a madman trying to take over the world again. "Ara, how rude of me, I forgot we have guests," Naruto said as he stuck his hands in the middle hoodie pouch and turned around to the small group that had gathered in different parts of the arena. Standing near the north entrance was a blue-haired female teen with 4 light blue bangs. The 2 on the outside were longer, while the smaller ones were framed just above her forehead. Her eyes were a pinkish red that were currently filled with ferocity. She was an obelisk blue if her uniform was to go by. As for how it fit, she matched Alexis, that's all that needs to be said. The boys, bar Naruto, were almost drooling. Behind her were the silhouettes of 2 female monsters, with one holding a scepter and the other was holding a scythe. "You can't escape us anymore, Foxy," she thought. "She looks kinda familiar," Naruto thought as her eyes focused on Alexis and Jaden. Near the east entrance was a female teen with short dark red hair and 2 long tails of hair down to her shapely hips. Her eyes were a dark brown that held curiosity in them, and she was dressed in the alternate version of the Slifer red uniform, a Slifer red long-sleeved polo shirt over her C-cup still developing breasts and a black skirt down to right above her knees. Now the boys were drooling. Behind her was the silhouette of a flower-like dragon. "You're ours and nobody else's, Foxy," she thought. "She looks very familiar," he thought as her eyes stared into his soul with a minuscule amount of pink on her face. Near the south entrance was another female with long light blue hair, and on top of her hair were 2 circles facing one behind the other in the middle of her head. Her reddish-pink eyes were half-lidded and filled with nothing at all. It actually unnerved the gang. She was dressed in a light yellow shirt that covered her low C-cup breasts, and her shirt was covered by the raw yellow jacket with white stripes and a white miniskirt. Now there was a pool of drool around the boys. Behind her were the silhouettes of a serpent-like dragon and a multiple-headed creature. "It's time to pay your dues, Foxy, and you have a lot to pay for," she thought. "Okay, I'm pretty damn sure I've met these 3 girls, but I just can't remember from where," he thought as an itchy feeling appeared at the back of his neck. "Also, why do I feel like I'm gonna get raped really soon?" Naruto, having enough of the boys drooling, cracked his knuckles before a rope fell from the ceiling. Naruto grinned as he pulled the rope. From the ceiling came an electric eel. Now let's do some quick science. Water plus electricity equals one nasty fucking shock. Where the fuck did he get an eel? Everyone thought as a small halo appeared above Naruto's head as he smiled sweetly. In the west entrance was the only male. He had short brown hair with green eyes that wandered and leered over the assets of all the females in the room, making said females cover their forms. He was an obelisk blue and a cocky one at that, if that smirk was anything to go by. His form was built okay for a guy his age, but compared to Naruto this guy was a stick. Behind him was the shadow of a large warrior with a small head compared to the rest of his body. So many girls, so little time, he thought before he was hit in the head with something heavy. A moth-earthing brick. Who in the hell threw a damn brick at his head? He was Daisuke Manamura, heir to Gato Industries. This had nothing to do with the fact Naruto had been carrying a sack of bricks since he left the ship. All four of the new students stared at the older group for a solid minute before Naruto popped his neck and his eyes turned into slits before Recension, and a black dragon covered in shadows, along with Ghostric Shinigami and two other human-sized figures, appeared behind the Hedichrome blonde. The new teens backed up as the two dragons roared together in unison before the females took one last look at Naruto and the lone male leered at the girls before they left separately. Naruto began to chuckle. Now this is going to be fun, but I still feel like there's something missing, Naruto said before a delicate hand tapped his shoulder, gaining his attention. The owner of said hand was another blonde-haired girl with her hair done in a ponytail and amber-colored eyes. Her outfit consisted of a dark blue cloak and a green scarf wrapped around her neck. In her other hand was a small brown box. "Ah, thanks Kissa," Naruto said as he patted the blonde on the head, getting her to blush before she vanished in a burst of speed. "What?" the foxy teen asked as he received multiple stares from the duelists in the room. Taz cleared his throat before walking up to Naruto. "Oh, nothing much except what is it? Oh yeah, who the hell was that?" "Didn't you hear me say her name?" Naruto asked as he childishly tilted his head to the side. "I'll kill you," Chaz shouted as he jumped towards Naruto, hoping to wring his neck out, only for Naruto to clothesline Chaz and dropped his elbow onto Chaz's chest. "You have such a cute girl with you, why the hell do you need Jaden and my Lexi too? Are you trying to make a harem, you bastard?" he yelled, trying to get the blonde off his chest. Naruto tilted his head to the side. "You mean Kissa? She's one of the monsters in my deck known as the Lady of Dragons. She just gave me a package I left at home." "Ooh, now I'm sure there are lots of questions that will all be answered," Bastion began, "but unless we all want detention, we have orientation in 5 minutes, every duelist for themselves," he yelled, already out the door. Naruto held up 3 fingers and began to count down 3, 2, 1, "and everybody is already gone," he said. Good, something was already calling him anyway. He pulled out a small set of cards in their card sleeves. These cards pulsed out with a black energy that enveloped Naruto for a second, only for it to dissipate a split second later. "They're getting restless again," he said as he pulled back the sleeve of his arm and saw nothing. He then grabbed the Excalibur necklace and muttered a quick CHAN1T before vanishing in a burst of speed. Interesting," a new voice spoke out from the shadows. "Break." After the orientation speech, the gang just walked the halls talking until Naruto snapped his fingers and pulled out the brown package. "I almost forgot again, while I was in the Synchro and XYZ countries I picked up a few new cards for you guys," he said as he handed each member a set of cards. "Taz, you get a Hama Country, a Hama Red, a Hama Blue and the Dark Armed Dragon, along with a surprise card." "What's up, boss?" A Hama Red and a Hama Blue said as they waved their arms around before they were joined by the "Oh my god, there's more of them, why don't you just kill me where I stand?" Chaz cries with tears pouring from his eyes. That bastard just wanted to see him squirm and always be annoyed by these damn Ahamas. Cirrus, here is the rest of the Roid series, plus the ultimate Roid card Barbaroid, the ultimate battle machine, but let me warn you, it's a card you may not be ready for. "Oh, thanks Naruto," Cirrus muttered as his eyes were drawn towards the giant android with attack points equal to his sister's Cyber End Dragon. Cool, a strong monster all his own to prove he's just not Z's little brother. "Bastion, for you I had some trouble finding a card, so I just got the whole damn wind-up monster set," Naruto said as he gave the deck to Bastion. "For once I don't know what to say," Bastion said as he thought of millions of ways to use this new deck. These cards were perfect for a million new strategies he just thought of. "Alexis, I thought the Cyber Angels, the Allure Queens, and a few extra special cards would suit you the best." Thank you Naruto-kun," she said as she took the cards from the blonde with a pink hue across her cheeks. This was so sweet. The only other person to ever give her a card and not try to get into her skirt was her older brother Atticus, and now Naruto. She'd have to talk to her mother about this warm feeling in her chest. Could it be she likes the crimson blonde boy? No. No way. She definitely needed to talk to her mother. "And Jaden, this took me a while to find, but here is the rest of the elemental heroes," Naruto finished as he handed the final set of cards to the elemental hero user. Jaden didn't say anything as she took the cards from Naruto. After looking at the cards for a few seconds, she glomped Naruto, smashing her high C-cup breasts into Naruto's face, saying thank you over and over again. Was it just her or was it hot in here? If Naruto kept being such a good boy, she might start falling in love with him, and honestly that might not be so bad. Naruto's face turned beet red before he stuttered out, it's no problem at all, after all you guys are my friends and friends are supposed to help their friends. He finished scratching the back of his head. That's sweet, a new voice spoke out from behind them. The clique turned towards the owner of the voice to see a girl with short silver hair and blue eyes, similar to Naruto's own eyes. She was dressed in a gray business suit with the top 2 buttons undone, showing off some of her generous cleavage. Who are you? Cirrus asked with hearts in his eyes. This girl was very pretty with her silver hair, and her voice was sweet like honey. Which one of you is Jaden Yuki? She asked as a sword pierced Cirrus' heart at being completely ignored again. Naruto ruffled his head in an attempt to cheer him up as Jaden introduced herself. You can just call me Ash, and I would like to have a duel with you. I'm kinda new here, and I want to duel one of the best to see where I stand here at Duel Academy, she said with a bright smile that Naruto could automatically tell was fake. Alright, I'll teach you a few new things if you want, Jaden said with a fire in her eyes, as some of Bastion left to get more acquainted his new cards. Well, alright then, get ready to get your game on, she said with a smirk as Jaden growled. Nobody steals her punchlines and gets away with it, it is so on. They exited the building and walked to the cliff of the card shop. Is it just me or does she seem very familiar? Cirrus asked from a higher position on the cliff. Alexis nodded, now that you say it she does, what do you think Naruto? Naruto, where the hell did he go? She asked, but she probably already knew what he was doing, pulling pranks on people. She was just a bit worried about the fact those 3 freshmen from earlier had stared at Naruto like some long-lost lover, well they stared at her and Jaden like they were threats that needed to be destroyed. Kura whined in her arms as the lack of being pampered until the pretty blonde woman returned to petting just like the 3 other blondes that were always with her father. She really hoped he would settle down with his mates and give her plenty of brothers or sisters to play with or a belly rub. Belly rubs are nice. Let's duel. Duel start. I'll go first, Ash began. I summon a Hama Yellow in defense mode, and that's all for now, she said as the yellow slug ogre creature in a speedo appeared in a puff of smoke. A Hama Yellow LV2 Beast 0 at 1000 def. Jaden 4000. Really, a Hama Yellow, what did you do, take lessons from Chaz? Jaden asked as a loud hey rang out from the top of the cliff, no doubt from the Chaz. Let me show you how we at Duel Academy do it. I summon Elemental Hero Heat in attack mode. A white-skinned hero dressed in yellow and red armor appeared in a bright flame. Elemental Hero Heat LV4 Warrior 1600 at 1200 def. What the heck, there's no such thing Elemental Hero Heat. Ashley thought as she frowned that was quickly hidden by her fake smile, why haven't I ever heard of this hero before? My hero gains 200 attack points for every elemental hero on the field including himself, now go Scorching Fist. She ordered as her hero pulverized the little yellow ogre looking thing with a single punch. That's all for now. Ash, 4000. It's my move next, so I'll set a card face down and activate the spell card reload, which basically sends the cards in my hand back into my deck and lets me draw the same number of cards into my deck after shuffling, of course. Next up I activate Sanctuary in the Sky. She said as the field turned into a temple situated on top of a cloud. Now any battle damage that a player takes that involves a fairy-type monster either player control will become 0, she began. Next I normal summon Warrior of Zera in attack mode, she said as a brown-skinned warrior dressed in green armor appeared. Warrior of Zera LV4 Warrior 1600 at 1600 def. I then tribute Warrior of Zera to special summon Archlord Zerato 2800-2300 in attack position, but I'm not done, she said as a feathered man in a light green cloak and angel wings appeared in a flurry of feathers. Archlord Zerato LV8 Fairy 2800 at 2300 def. Next I activate Zerato's effect and discard Mystical Shine Ball and destroy Hero Heat, she said as a bright stream of light destroyed the flaming hero. Now go Zerato, attack her life points directly. She said as her angel shot a flurry of feathers towards the Slifer Red. Jaden 4800 equals 1200. That's all for now, hey, are you okay? She asked as Jaden began laughing. I'm better than alright. You're pretty good for a fresh, Jaden began before a ringtone blared from the silver-haired girl. Excuse me for a moment. Seriously, you can't wait until after the duel to take a call? She asked with her hands on her hips. Who the heck pulls out a cell phone in the middle of a duel? Chaz asked. Someone who's way too cocky, Alexis muttered as she crossed her arms, still wondering where her fellow blonde is. This'll just take a minute, she said as she answered her phone. Yeah, I'm dueling her right now. In a pure white room far away from Duel Academy. Good, now don't forget you must lose to Jaden, a white-cloaked figure said as he laid down a series of tarot cards. The 3 cards placed down are the Dark Queen, which represents Jaden, that when upside down, represents just a girl in love going down a dark path. The Fallen Star, which represents Ashley, that when right side up shows the descent of one's soul. And finally there's the Tortured King, that when right side up shows the ascension of one who truly holds a perfect soul that cannot be swayed. I have a hunch on who this person is, but I need more time to truly see if he is the one. Back to the duel. Jaden 1200. By draw, Jaden began before a little brown furball with green hands and feet with small white angel wings appeared beside her head, saying "Kuri Kuri" over and over again. "Hey winged Kurubo, what's up?" she asked as the aerial Kurubo tried to push her away from the duel land towards the forest. "Hold on, just let me finish this duel." Apparently that wouldn't work for the little fluffball, as it kept tackling her head with as much force as it could mutter, "So not very much." Is she literally talking to her cards? Ashley wondered, just what is so important about her that I have to lose this duel? I've never thrown a duel in my life, so why now? I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards. Next up, I summon Elemental Hero Clayman in defense mode, she said as a hero made of stone and clay was summoned on the field. Elemental Hero Clayman LV4 Warrior 800 at 2000 def. But he won't be here for long because I activate Metamorphosis and sacrifice him to summon Elemental Hero Clay Guardian, and you lose 200 life points for every card on your side of the field. She said as Clayman was upgraded with what looked like football-like armor and a big red shield. Elemental Hero Clay Guardian 800 at 2800 def. Ashley 4600 equals 3400. Ashley, 3400. Then it's my move, she began, and I'll activate Beckoning Light, which lets me add Mystic Shine Ball to my hand, only to discard it to destroy your Clay Guardian. She said as Clay Guardian was destroyed, leaving her defenseless. Now go Archlord Zerato, attack her life points directly. Not so fast. I activate Flute of Summoning Kurubo and summon Winged Kurubo in defense mode. She said as her little puffball defended her from Zerato's attack. Stubborn aren't you? You should just give up. It's my destiny to beat you. She said. Destiny? Yes, when we are born some of us are born to win, the rest of you are born to lose, that's the fact of destiny. Jaden 1200. Whatever, it's my move, and this duel is mine. First up, I summon Elemental Hero Stratos in attack mode, she said as a blue and grey armored hero, with large mechanized wings and turbines on said wings, and a clear blue visor shielding his eyes. Elemental Hero Stratos LV4 Warrior 1800 at 1300 def. Elemental Hero Stratos has 2 abilities I can activate when he's summoned. I can either add 1 Elemental Hero card to my hand or destroy a spell or trap card for every Elemental Hero on my side of the field, and I'll add 1 card to my hand. Next up, I'll activate Polymerization, fuse my Stratos with a Shadowmist in my hand to fusion summon Elemental Hero Great Tornado. She said as her monsters fused into a caped crusader with orange and white gauntlets dressed in orange and green armor, appeared in a strong gust of wind. When Great Tornado is summoned, I can have the attack and defense points of every monster my opponent controls. Elemental Hero Great Tornado LV8 Warrior 2800 at 2200 def. Archlord Zerato 2800 at 2300 def. 1400 at 1150 def. Now go Great Tornado, destroy Zerato with Big Bang Tornado Shot. She ordered as the hero's fist was encased in a mini tornado as he punched a hole straight the angel as the tornado blew the rest of him away, but since Sanctuary in the Sky was still in play, Ashley took no damage. I'm not done because I activate Diffusion to separate Great Tornado back into Elemental Hero Stratos and Necroshade. The airborne hero reappeared along with a dark red and black-skinned man with skull-like markings across his face and arms. Elemental Hero Stratos 1800 at 1300 def. Elemental Hero Shadowmist 1000 at 1500 def. Now go, attack with Turbine Gust and Nightmare Claw. She said as both heroes launched an attack towards the silver-haired freshman. Ashley 1800 to 1000 equals 1200. Not bad, Ashley began, but I thought you said you were gonna beat me this turn. Oh, I am, and it's because of the spell card Instant Fusion, which allows me to fusion summon a new hero, so come on out Elemental Hero Escudario. She said as a female hero completely covered in shadows, making it hard to identify her gender, appeared with only her red eyes showing, appeared out of the portal. Elemental Hero Escudario LV8 Warrior 2500 at 2000 def. My hero gains 100 attack points for every hero in my graveyard, and I have 2. Elemental Hero Escudario 2500 plus 200 equals 2700. Now go Dark Drive. She said as her new hero launched a small dark orb at the freshman before the orb exploded in a column of darkness. Ashley 1200 to 2700 equals 0. Winner Jaden. Well, she's actually stronger than I gave her credit for, still not as strong as me, but still not bad, she thought before she simply walked away. Even when Jaden tried to call her name, she continued to walk back towards the docks. Well, that's rude, Alexa said as the crimson fox still in her arms snickered and waved her tails around in a playful fashion. Break. Again. A deep voice said as the clanging of metal echoed throughout the forest. In an open clearing, the heterochromide teen blocks a sword from a green-blue armored knight. He pushes the knight off before he jumped back to avoid a slash that would taken off his head. After a few more clashes, Naruto had sidestepped a powerful slash and countered with one hell of a kick to the front of the knight's chest. Said knight was armored on every part of his body besides his face, where a nasty scar across his left eye took its residence. The blade he was wielding was a claymore that was as tall as he was. It was colored silver with black lines running diagonally across the blade. The handle was a golden bronze as two prongs were angled towards the handle. Explosion from Rave Master. You're improving quite quickly, Naruto-sama, the knight said, kneeling in front of the teen, only for the teen to hold out his hand and pull the knight back onto his feet. Thank you, Timaeus, but I know I still have a lot to learn about the art of swordsmanship, Naruto stated as he bowed to the former dragon, before said knight vanished in a golden glow and returned back into spiritual plane. Sword training complete, next up magic train MPH. He was interrupted as his magic instructor tackled him from behind and sent him face first into the ground with a familiar weight being placed on his back. Hey Mana, how's it going? He grumbled with his voice being barely audible. Dark magician girl just giggled as she let her fellow blonde of the ground but still sat next to him. Hey Mana, may I ask a question? Naruto asked as the itching sensation on the back of his neck. Sure you can, she said with a bright smile across her face. Those three girls from earlier, do I know them, because they sure as hell look they know me? He asked as he scratched at the sensation, but no matter what it wouldn't go away. Mana's smile dropped from her face as she quickly put on a fake smile. I don't know anything about them, besides seeing one of them on the boat this morning, she said as her heart broke seeing Naruto sad for a moment before she said, hey, we still have to practice you magic, and I'll even teach you a new technique. I'm sorry Naruto, but for now you cannot know who they are until you can get a better grip of your abilities. Naruto instantly perked up and she was positive if he had a tail it would be wagging in excitement. Alright, let's get it going. First up, trap cards now use mirror force. She said as Naruto held up the trap card and a multicolored barrier elicited itself around the two, effectively creating mirror force. Next up, spell cards now use swords of revealing light and copycat. She ordered as Naruto held up the spell cards and series of light shot down from the sky and pierced the ground before Naruto splits into 10 equal copies of himself. Not bad, now I will teach you a few techniques of my own design, get ready. She said before she teleported around 10 feet away. The copies disappeared fairly quickly. Got it, he said before he clapped his hands together and teleported 5 feet away. There was just one problem here, he appeared upside down 2 feet into the air and as you know due to the law of anime, he stayed above ground for 3 seconds before gravity took hold and dropped him onto his head. This might take a while, Dark Magician Girl said before Duel Academy's arena exploded getting the two blondes' attention. Naruto nodded towards Mana getting an eager nod in return as she dissipated and returned back into his deck. The heterochrome teen then picked himself up off the ground before he darted off towards the school, but he still had that itching feeling near his neck. Break. Great Scott, what's going on? Bastion yelled as he and the other members of the gang arrived to see the arena in a complete state of disarray, with a completely one-sided duel going on between the red-haired Slifer Red from earlier and an obelisk blue male named Koda. Said obelisk blue male's jacket was torn and burned in certain areas. Koda was an upstart obelisk blue in his final year that actually was set to turn pro after this year with his silent LV deck when all of a sudden this cute Slifer Red chick challenged him to a duel. Now well he did wager that if he won she would go on a date with him, he had no idea she was such a freak. He couldn't believe that when she did damage he actually felt it. Slifer Red 1000. Violet Witch LV4 Spellcaster 1100 at 1200 def. Blue Rose Dragon LV4 Dragon 1600 at 1200 def. 2 face down cards, 3 cards in hand. Koda 2400. Silent Swordsman LV7 Warrior 2800 TK 1000 DEF. Silent Magician LV8 Spellcaster 3500 at 1000 def. 1 face down card, no cards in hand. It's over you Slifer slacker freak. He yelled as the Slifer Red's eyes narrowed in anger. Now go my silent monsters, wipe out the rest of these freaks' life points. He ordered as his silent monsters rushed to finish off the rest of her life points. I activate the trap card Spirit Barrier, she stated with an edge in her voice. The obelisk blue grinned, predictable. I activate my trap card Royal Decree and negate your trap card. No you don't. I activate the effect of the Rose Archer in my hand, since I control a plant-type monster your royal decree is negated and my spirit barrier protects me from all the damage I would have taken. Kota growled, fine turn end. Slifer read. It's my draw, because you destroyed my Violet Witch, I can add a plant-type monster to my hand, now I summon Twilight Rose Knight, and because I did I can also summon Lord Poison from my hand, she said as a small silver-haired knight in dark purple armor and a root-like creature with claws appeared next to one another. Twilight Rose Knight LV3 Warrior 1000 at 1000 def. Lord Poison LV4 Plant 1500 at 1000 def. Now I'll tune my level 4 Lord Poison with my Twilight Rose Knight to synchro summon a mighty beast now Bloom Black Rose Dragon. She said as her ace monster appeared before her in a violent flurry of rose petals. It was a black dragon with a thorny tail wrapped in multiple layers of roses. Black Rose Dragon LV7 Dragon 2400 at 1800 def. How your dragon still isn't strong enough to do damage to any of my monsters, Kota sneered. Next up I activate my dragon's ability to remove Lord Poison from play and change your silent magician's attack points to 0, she said as thorn-like spires held the magician in place as its 3500 attack points dropped straight down to 0, much to Kota's shock, now go Black Rose Gale. She ordered as her dragon spat a purple flame towards the magician and incinerated it within a few moments and sent Kota into the flying. Kota 2400 to 2400 equals 0. Winner Slifer read. Kota was blown back into a wall quite hard leaving him stuck in the wall, unfortunately his deck was destroyed in the process. The crowd was in a huge panic as the students ran around like chickens with their heads cut off. On a lighter note the arena had a really big new skylight. What's your damage? Alexis asked as the Redeed turned her head towards Alexis before she glared at them all, but especially Jaden and Alexis. Alexis, I don't think it is a good idea to antagonize the person with superpowers, Cirrus stated as Naruto came running into the arena at very fast rate. As she doesn't have superpowers she has powers like mine that allows her to bring monsters into this world, he said as Akiza walked toward him with a slight glare in her eyes until she stopped right in front of him. It's been a while, hasn't it Naruto, she said stroking the whiskered cheek getting him to purr in response and completely mellow out, she smirked towards the females of the gang as they grew quite angry at their friend being petted like an animal. They wanted to pet him too. Naruto you want to fill us in on who this is? Jaden asked as she tapped her foot. Naruto brought his face out of the Redeed's hands only for her to reach him and grab both his cheeks and shoving his face into her chest as she continued her ministrations on his cheeks, getting him to blush and mellow out once again. If you wanted to know my name you should have just asked me yourself, she began. My name is Akiza Izinski and I'm one of Naruto's fiancés. What? They all yelled including Naruto who had managed to pull himself from her breasts before another part of the statement finally set in. One of? You mean he has more than one fiancé? Akiza lightly chuckled before she noticed that Alexis and Jaden seemed to be a bit ticked off. What's the matter you mad? Someone else got to him first. Well too bad he belongs to us. Now wait a minute, no owns Naruto Uzumaki now they can rent me, but no one owns this ass. He yelled glaring down at her as she simply smirked. Oh really? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You positive? For the love of Raymond, yes. He replied only to be kneed square in the crotch, getting him lean down to her level as she grabbed his face and gently smashed her lips into his own. Naruto's eyes shot open as he lifted his hands into the air and after a second grabbed her shoulders and forcefully separated the two. See you around Naruto, she said before she simply walked off with a blush on her face and a sway in her hips, knowing Naruto would stare as he did. Naruto watched as she walked out the arena only to feel a heavy and angry aura pressing down on him. Oh shit, he muttered as he turned around and saw an outraged Alexis and Jaden staring at him with a look that just spelled pain. Naruto you have a lot of explaining to do, they said in unison as he silently began begging for Kami to save him. Hey punk. A familiar voice called out as Naruto thanked Kami before he had to duck a fist that would have struck his face. I owe you for the punch in the face on the boat, so let's do lore better yet just give me those nice girls over there and I'll save you the embarrassment. Ryuk said. What a chump, Chaz said. Naruto kick his ass. Naruto glared at the obelisk blue fine by me you insulted my friends, plus you still need a lesson anyway let's go. He said as the two squirt off before his arm blazed over and his white hot duel disc appeared. Let's duel. Naruto 4000. Ryuk 4000. I'll go first, Ryuk began, I summon Lord of D in attack mode and activate the flute of summoning dragons, so come on out Prime Material Dragon and Dark Horus onto my field. He said as a man dressed in a dragon cloak blew a golden dragon-shaped horn and two more dragons appeared on the field. One was a dark gold with two sets of wings, the other was a black version of Horus the Black Flame Dragon LV8. Lord of Dragons LV4 Spellcaster 1200 at 1100 def. Prime Material LV6 Dragon 2400 ATK 2000 def. Dark Horus LV8 Dragon 3000 at 1800 def. Then I'll set a card face down and end my phase, let's see you do better than that punk. Naruto 4000. My move, and first up I activate Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy your face down, he said as a storm blew away the bottomless trap hole trap card. I then activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards, then I discard a card to special summon the Tricky from my hand in defense mode, then I normal summon Lady of Dragons in attack mode. He began, as S-figure in a circus magician get up appeared alongside the blonde from earlier. The Tricky LV5 Spellcaster 2000 at 1200 def. Lady of Dragons LV4 Spellcaster 1500 at 1100 def. And then I'll activate Monster Reborn and bring back the card I sent to the graveyard, Dark Magician Girl, and since I have no monsters in my graveyard, I can special summon Guardian Eidos. He said as the blonde duo also appeared on the field waving at the Hedichrome blonde. Dark Magician LV6 Spellcaster 2000 at 1700 def. Guardian Eidos LV8 Fairy 2500 at 2000 def. She looks prettier than I remember, Cirrus said with heart in his eyes. Now go Eidos, destroy Prime Material, and Dark Magician Girl destroy Lord of Dragons if you will. Naruto ordered as Eidos cut through the brown dragon and Lord of D was destroyed in a magical dark energy blast. Ryuk 4500 to 800 equals 2700. I'll set a card face down and end my turn, Naruto said as Ryuk growled. Ryuk 2700. It's my move, punk. He began, I'm ditching my Black Horus, but not before I activate its effect and bring back Lord of D in defense mode, and now that that's done I'm sending Horus to the grave to summon Strong Wind Dragon, and my new dragon gains half of the attack of Dark Horus. Lord of Dragons LV4 Spellcaster 1200 at 1100 def. Strong Wind Dragon LV6 2400 at 1000 def, 2400 3900. That's going to be tough to beat, Alexa said. Now go Strong Wind Dragon, destroy the Tricky with Wind Storm Assault, and when Storm Wind Dragon attack, you take the damage between the attack of Storm Wind and your Tricky. He said as his dragon destroyed the Tricky in a tornado-like gust that erupted from the dragon's mouth. Naruto 2700 equals 1300. And that's all with a face down, show me what you got you little punk. Naruto 1300. It's my move, Naruto began, and I'll fuse my Dark Magician Girl with the Eye of Timaeus to fusion summon Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. He said as Mana donned knight's armor from her skirt up and mounted a giant bluish-green dragon with a scar over its left eye. In Mana's hand was a silver sword that sparkled in the sun. Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight LV7 Dragon 2600 at 1700 def. Cirrus was passed out on the ground with a bloody nose soon after she was summoned. I activate her ability and send a card from my hand to the grave and destroy your face down card, Naruto chided as the Ryuk's mirror force was destroyed. Next up I equip Guardian Eidos with Celestial Sword Eidos, which increases her attack points by 500, sometimes you gotta give a girl a gift once in a while. He said as Eidos picked up a glowing white blade. Guardian Eidos 2500 plus 500 equals 3000. That's still not enough to defeat my Strong Wind Dragon. Not yet anyway, because I activate Eido's ability to send her blade to the grave and then she gains 500 attack points for every banished card and then her own blade gives her an extra 500 for every banished monster. He said. Guardian Eidos 2500 plus 2000 equals 4500. You know what, let's go for overkill. I activate Brain Control and I'll borrow your Lord of D so I can overlay both Masters of the Dragons to XYZ summon Queen Dragon Jin. He said as the two Dragon Masters flew into a portal and out of the portal appeared a blonde woman with black spikes coming from near her high ponytail. Her upper body was covered in black armor and the actual chest was shrouded in fire as her lower half was a blazing orange like fire that spread into 4 legs. Queen Dragon Jin R4 Dragon 2200 at 1200 def. Now go my 3 blonde Heims, please put him down if you will, Naruto stated as all 3 blondes launched a devastating an attack towards the sexist obelisk blue. No way. Ryuk yelled as his life points dropped to 0. Ryuk 2700 600 to 2600 to 2200 equals 0. That was way too easy, Naruto said. He scratched his scalp before turning towards the direction of his dorm. See y'all later, I'm gonna check out my new room. He said as he began to walk off only to realize he wasn't going anywhere. Oh Naruto, Jaden and Alexis cooed with way too sweet smiles, we're still not done here yet. Oh shit, Naruto said with all of his dual spirits laughing at him from the air. Chapter end. It's been about a week since the whole Akiza incident, and luckily for Naruto, Alexis and Jaden seemed to ease up after the whole kiss with Akiza and the fiancé thing. They were still ticked off and barely talking to him, but they at least acknowledged his presence, or at least Jaden did. Alexis just fed and turned her head after taking Kura into her arms. He himself had been hiding from them and is now currently hiding from them on the roof. Feminine fury was no laughing matter, especially after Alexis and Jaden had been on a rampage in the dueling arena. But it hadn't been all bad. They had gotten a new addition to the pack after Jaden had beat in a rather brutal fashion. His name is Toronto Hasselberry, a dark-skinned muscular teen who had a knack for using dinosaur cards and had kept calling Jaden Sergeant and Naruto Lieutenant for some strange reason. He also had a rivalry against Cirrus for Jaden's right-hand man. One thing had greatly bugged him though, a few of his monsters were avoiding him. In fact, he hadn't seen Itos and Mana for a while. I wonder if it has anything to do with Akiza or those other girls. Naruto, Cirrus began as he opened the door to the roof, we have a really big problem. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is it? 11. Well, that's not so. Squared to the power 64. Well damn, let's go. Break. Damn it, all this is so much worse, Naruto said as he hid behind one of the chairs in the auditorium with the other males in the room. The reason was Alexis and Jaden glaring at Akiza and the other two blue-haired girls while they glared back. Now normally this wouldn't freak Naruto out, but because of the littered bodies around them and the sheer amount of venom in the glare, it made him uneasy. What made him scared was the Hanyu mask on the Slifer and Obelisk side, glaring against the other Hanyu mask that was on the stranger's side. Jazz shivered for a moment. They've been at this for 30 minutes. I don't even think they blinked. Shouldn't somebody stop them? Hasselberry asked. Don't even try, we just need to be as quiet as possible to avoid attention, Bastion explained as the others nodded in agreement before Naruto noticed something. Has anybody seen Kura? Yep. The guys froze at the loud yip that came from extremely close by. Naruto slowly turned towards the open middle of the rows, only to spot the small three-tailed fox, with her 3 crimson-colored tails wagging happily before she hopped into his lap. Kura, where the hell did you come from? You made me think we were in a heap of pain. Naruto sighed, sounding relieved as he began scratching behind the fox's ear. Oh, don't worry, you're still in a heap of pain. Naruto slowly looked over the seat to see Jaden and Akiza glaring at him on one side and Akiza and her friends blocking his other escape routes, staring at him with a mild glare that was almost ruined the blushes across their face. He also noticed all the boys were huddled in a corner near the entrance. I'm screwed, aren't I? In possibly more ways than one, the raw yellow female with red eyes said with a completely straight face. Misaki, stop being a pervert. The obelisk blue female with crimson-pink colored eyes scolded but didn't deny the being screwed part. It's nice to see you again, Naruto-kun. I heard you don't remember us too well. You already know Akiza, I'm Ryo Castle, and this is Misaki Taojo, your other fiancés. Now how about you come with us and we'll jog your memory. Ryo purred a bit, running a finger alongside his cheek, getting to purr softly. Now hold on a minute. Alexis interrupted as she pushed Naruto to the side as she and Jaden stared down Ryo and Akiza respectively. You're not taking him anywhere, he's staying right here with us. Well, what if he wants to come with us? Akiza asked, still glaring at Jaden. What if he doesn't? Jaden countered. What's your problem? Ryo accused as they began arguing more and more. Alexis scoffed, it's the fact that you just come in here and start causing trouble for for Duel Academy. She managed to correct herself at the last moment, but that didn't hide her intentions from Naruto's self-proclaimed fiancés. Ryo smirked, I see, both of you like him, don't you? Both girls began sputtering and denying the accusation as Ryo continued, well, too bad, we've known him since we were kids and we were his first friends, so back off, Blondie. Jaden interrupted their squabble as she stepped in between both girls. I've got an idea, how about we let Naruto decide what he wants to do, and if he can't we will settle this with a duel, she said as Alexis, Ryo and Akiza agreed, and she turned towards the crimson blonde. Great, now what do you think, Naruto? What had her freeze was the sight of Misaki straddling Naruto's waist with one hand on his whiskered cheek, slowly stroking it, and the other hand was holding his hand to her hip while she was trying to shove her tongue down his throat. Her expression never changed from being half-lidded besides the blush that ran across her cheeks, all the while Naruto's blue eyes were as wide as possible and his spare hand was frantically waving around. Misaki, that's not fair. Ryo said as she pulled Misaki off of Naruto, leaving Misaki to pull a bit of saliva out of Naruto's mouth. Misaki panted just a bit, that was satisfying. She then dusted off her jacket before pulling out a small pink heart necklace from inside her shirt, getting Naruto's eyes to widen just a bit. Ryo pulled a bang away from her eyes as she took Misaki's place on Naruto's lap and began her own session with the blonde. About a minute later she pulled back with a large blush on her face. Akiza face-palmed before pulling both of the brunettes back. Come on you two, it's time for class to start, see you later Naruto-kun. Akiza cooed as she and Misaki dragged Ryo out the auditorium. Well said. Obelisk Blue was sulking about the fact she was the last one to kiss their favorite blonde. All said blonde could do was stare as they walked out the auditorium until a sinister presence began radiating from behind him. Oh Naruto, Jaden and Alexis cooed with way too sweet smiles, getting a shiver to run up Naruto's spine as he began backing away slowly. "We just want to talk to you for a second," Jaden said as she stalked closer towards the frightened boy with a smile. "All males learn to fear the might of a female's rage, and when it is more than one, then accept the fact that there's a 60% chance you're going to kicked in the balls, a 20% chance that you'll get punched in the face, a 15% chance you'll be in chains, a 4% chance she'll leave you alone and make you feel like a total, and a 1% chance she'll kiss you. But I have to go take care of Kura," Naruto stuttered as his back hit the wall. Alexis smirked as she held up the sleeping three-tailed fox for the whiskered blonde to see, and she laughed as Jaden put both hands on the side of his head as she leaned in and glared at Naruto with her honey brown eyes. She was pretty damned pissed that some other girls had decided to go after her blonde. She was even more pissed that she thought Naruto was leading her, Alexis and Zeon. "Explain," she growled. Naruto looked left and right before he pointed to the sky. "Hey, look at distraction." He yelled only for Jaden to get even closer in his personal space. He couldn't understand why she was so upset. It's not like she liked him, right? "You have 5 seconds to explain what connection you have to those girls and why you didn't tell us, or else you will not be able to have kids ever." "Oh okay, you see," poof, he began until he went up in smoke, and in his place was a confused Cirrus who became completely terrified at what he saw. Jaden was mad, no screw mad, she was pissed, no fuck pissed, and throw in a garbage bag and then run it over 13 times with a forklift. She was outraged. She slammed her fist into the wall and it went through like rock going through a piece of paper. Alexis was also quite pissed but couldn't really do much due to the sleeping ball of fur snuggled into her arms. "Naruto?" "In the nearby forest." "Thank you, Shift," Naruto muttered, kissing the trap card as Jaden's yell rang across the island. He didn't want to face his death and or the death of his future children. He also didn't know anything about Akiza or his other 2 fiancées, or why the hell he has more than one. He needed to talk to his monsters, especially Mana, since she's been acting suspicious since he talked to her earlier. "Mana, Ito's, Timaeus, Hermos, Krisha's, Alucard, and Shinigami, we need to talk." Said monster spirits appeared before him looking a bit sheepish at the crimson and blonde-haired teen. "Hey Naru-kun, Naruto-kun, Nana-kun, Mana, Ito's and Shinigami," said with a nervous smile as the knights in their human form bowed to their master, while Alucard just gave him the peace sign and smirked. "I'm going to cut right to the chase, you know," Naruto said, getting the spirits to freeze in fear. Whenever Naruto said "you know," people got pranked hurt hard. Who the fuck are those girls, and more importantly why the fuck can't I remember anything about them? "I've been kissed 3 times and I'm pretty damn sure rape is somewhere in my future," he asked with a smile that was deceptively sweet. The monsters looked towards one another for a fraction of a second before Alucard raised his hand and yelled, "Not it," and took off running like a bat out of hell, getting shocked looks from the other monsters, mostly because he and the other Gostric monsters never talk. "I'm waiting." "Not it. Not it. Not it. Not it. Not it. Not damn it all." Mana cried out, "Wait, don't leave me alone with him, you bastards." She slowly turned her head towards a still smiling blonde that was right in front of her face. "Oh fuck me sideways." Naruto frowned lightly. "I actually might have if you weren't in fact hiding something from me, but now I'm probably going to punish you. But I also might not if you tell me what the hell is going on." Naruto smirked a bit deviously, took note of the shocked and pitiful look on her face before it turned to one of horror. Wait, I'll tell you what's going on," the magician pleaded as she poked her fingers together. "Why, you see, those 3 girls from earlier are friends that you kinda promised you would marry them at 19 years old so that they would stop fighting each other." Naruto's eye twitched a bit before he let her continue. "The reason you can't remember is because we kinda blocked it off." His response was to pick her up and sit down near the nearest tree. "You wanna tell me why you decided to block off memories of my friends before you get punished?" Wait, it was for your own good, I swear." "How so?" Because otherwise you would have destroyed all of the dual spirits in Konoha and maybe even the elemental nations," she stuttered as she stared into his heterochrome-colored eyes with vibrant emotions in her own. "Please explain." Mana sighed. "Alright, it all began when you helped them put from some older kids." Flashback, third-person point of view. The 7-year-old Naruto was swinging on his favorite swing with a small smile on his face as the dual monster spirits floated around, relaxing or stirring up some chaos for later. His red locks hadn't disappeared since he had dueled the Uchiha kid, not really a big problem, he liked the color red and the others thought it looked pretty damn good. "Hey, give back Misaki's bunny and leave us alone, you big bully." Naruto looked to see 5 or 6 older kids around 12 or 13 picking on 3 girls he didn't recognize. If the tears went by anything, then the bunny belonged to the light blue-haired girl in a yellow sundress with reddish pink eyes, while her friends The red with the brown eyes in a magenta sundress and the two-tone blue-haired girl with crimson eyes in vanilla-colored sundress were standing up for her ready to deliver any amount of punishment their 7-year-old bodies could deal. "Oh yeah, what are you little girls going to do about it?" The ringleader sneered as he prepared to rip the bunny's stuffing out only to feel someone tap his shoulder. He turned around, but before he could yell at whoever was stupid enough to interrupt his fun, he was punched in the gut by a tiny fist that didn't seem to match the amount of power put into it. Naruto's punch had the boy clenching his stomach as the grip on the bunny loosened just enough for the crimson blonde to snatch it out of the older boy's grip and run for the hills. He tossed the bunny to Misaki and taunted the bullies into coming after him with a raspberry and a pat on his butt. "See, come on, let's teach the freak a lesson," the leader yelled as he and his lackeys ran after the whiskered blonde only said boy to appear hanging upside down in a tree, snickering like an old cartoon character. "Suckers are way too easy to trick, it's almost not even fun to prank them, almost." He detached himself from the tree and landed on his feet and was about to walk away. Wait. Misaki called out as he turned a blue eye to the three and had to hold in a small blush. These three girls were pretty cute compared to the girls of Konoha. What's your name?" Naruto gave them a foxy grin causing them to blush. "Name's Naruto Uzumaki, future ruler of the world," he said with a wicked gleam in the world as they just stared at him for a second. "Just kidding, mostly." He whispered the last part as they chuckled at him. "My name is Akiza Izinski," the redhead said. "Rio Castle," the two-tone blue-haired girl replied. "Just Misaki and this is Mr. Floppy." Around a month later the girls had to go back home with their parents, but they didn't want to leave their new friend. In all honesty, they had grown somewhat attached to them, and because of that they decided to kidnap him for one final day with together, but unknown to anyone this would prove to be a very big mistake. "This is nice," Naruto said as his head was resting on Akiza's lap, much to the other girls' insistence, so they just decided to lie down on either side of him. They nodded in agreement as the sun cast a beautiful gleam over the horizon and made the mood much more sobering, yet at the same time peaceful. "Hey Foxy?" Rio asked as her crimson eyes looked into his blue and red eyes. Oh yeah, he forgot the girls gave him that nickname because of his fox-like features and his tricky nature. "Do you think we could get married one day?" she asked with an enormous blush across her face. Naruto gained a small blush across his face before he began stuttering, but luckily for him Akiza intervened. "Why do you get marry Foxy?" "I wanna marry Foxy." Akiza argued as she and Rio began arguing about who would make a better wife for the spiky-haired youth. While this was going on, Misaki began dragging the still blushing Naruto to his a way to be used as a human pillow for a few hours. "And where do you think you're going, Misaki?" Akiza and Rio asked as they impatiently tapped their foot with their hand on their hip. Misaki simply looked at the two for a moment before tightening her hold and ran at impressive speeds, kicking up an absurd amount of dust, all the while carrying a squirming Naruto. "Get back here, Misaki." One thrilling chase scene later. All four kids were enjoying a nice bowl of ramen at Ichiraku's until a group of citizens led by a pink-haired woman with green eyes and a chest that was more flat than a pancake that it actually looked like it caved inward. Also near her was Sasuke Uchiha and his clique of fangirls looking ready for a brawl beating. The reason might have something to do with the fact they were all coated in a layer of honey, and he thinks there was one guy fighting Honey Badger in the back and by the sound of his screams was losing. "Can we help you?" Naruto asked without turning to look at the mob. The Uchiha smirked. "Yes you can, I want." "Slurp." "I want." "Slurp." "I said I want." "Slurp." "Okay, now I'm done." "I want." Slurp. Rio was the culprit of the slurp as the other girls giggled before they joined in and began slurping in a beat that matched that of the Kanken dance. You know the song, it goes like da 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 da. Sasuke's tick mark was now the size of a chihuahua that grew even bigger when Naruto ordered another bowl. "Give me back the cards you stole from me right now, and I demand your cards as compensation." Nope, slurp. The pink-haired woman stepped with what was assumed to be her daughter, if the matching characteristics were anything to go by the order of the esteemed council, since you stole the property of Sasuke Uchiha, you will give the cards back and your own as compensation. "Now why should I give up those 2 cards that I won in the anti-match, let alone my own deck? Why the hell are you even involved in this? This is a card game for Kami's sake. I mean, it's not like the fate of the world is constantly in a state of peril because of it." The elder Pinket sneered. "Uchiha-sama is participating in a national tournament and he doesn't need your cards to win, but with his soon-to-be new cards, he will destroy the competition in all categories. So hand them over right now, you little abomination." Akiza swiveled around in her seat. "Oh yeah? If he's so high and mighty, how come he's never been able to beat any of us in a duel since we've been here, and I know that Foxy-kun has always beaten him whenever Sasuke challenged Foxy-kun." The raven-haired boy growled as she was right. The Uchiha had never beaten the blonde or his 3 girls in a duel, and in all honesty never had a chance from the beginning due to the fact his arrogance had shown in his duels and had left holes in strategy that could be easily exploited. He was a good duelist, a very good duelist, but he wouldn't accept the fact that the freak and his band of little girls were better than him, an elite duelist. Whatever, just give Sasuke the cards. The mini Pinkette yelled in unison with the other Uchiha fangirls. No way, Sasuke wouldn't be able to wield my cards, they like someone who has a sense of humor, and my friend you have none, Naruto said, not even bothering to notice the Uchiha heir growing angrier. Then duel me. If I win I get your cards. Naruto palmed his forehead. I told you I have no reason to duel you for any reason other than fun, so either get a new attitude, sit down and enjoy a bowl of ramen, or you can go ahead and go whine to your dad. One of the older teens growled, enough of this, let's just take the cards from the freak, and while we are at it, let's finally get rid of this eyesore. He chanted as more of the crowd members began agreeing with him. Naruto's eyes were shut as more and more of the Gastric family along with Mana and Ito's began surrounding the area unknown to the violent mob. So I'm an eyesore, well then that's perfectly fine, because in the next few minutes it won't really matter what you think or say. In fact, I really don't care what you say or think now, so if you would go home and leave us alone, that would be fan-freaking-tastic. Dead him? Another member of the crowd exclaimed before he cried out in pain due to the bear trap that snapped around his leg. The trap didn't go all the through the leg, but it did enough damage to the point he wouldn't be able to use that leg for quite a while. The next few minutes were some of the funniest, humiliating and at the same time bizarre and even cruel moments in history. It involved a jar of peanut butter, a rubber chicken named Earl, a tennis racket, Mr. Floppy, an amplified joy buzzer, a bowling ball, a jar of wax and a lot of banana peels. By the time it was over, the mob was spread out in a large area, with half of them with foam coming out of their mouths, while a quarter of the group was muttering curses while holding their asses, while the last quarter of the mob still couldn't move, and if the screaming was by anything, that honey badger was still around. The kids were all still enjoying their last bowl of ramen when one straggler grabbed Rio from behind and basically held her hostage, pointing a large knife to her neck. Ha, got you now, you little sympathizer. Naruto growled as he noticed new people joining the mob and they effectively blocked their escape route. He pushed Akiza and Misaki behind him and formed a makeshift barrier to protect them. Let her go. Make me, you little monster, he said as he pushed the knife just a bit to make her slightly bleed. Naruto was about to run over if a dull object nailed from the back of the head, but fortunately it wasn't enough to knock him unconscious. Damn it, Naruto said as Akiza and Misaki were taken hostage as well. Crap, what am I gonna do? Let's make this a little interesting since these 3 are from pretty wealthy families, one of mob members chuckled. We will spare one of your little friends, but the other 2 will be sold back to their families for a hefty price, or maybe we'll send them to that psychic guy Mayor, Sayer or whatever his name is. At that moment something within Naruto snapped, or more precisely awakened. Do you want power, child? A feminine voice filled with mischief asked. Naruto looked around for a moment trying to find the owner of that voice before it spoke again. I ask, do you want power to protect your friends and obliterate all those who dare to oppose you? I don't care about getting rid of those who get in my way, I just want to protect those who are close to me. I want to protect my friends. Hahaha. I like that answer, Gaki, but we will see if you can uphold that philosophy for the future, but for now go protect those who matter to you, little one. A different female voice finished as a red aura erupted from Naruto before it exploded and sent everyone besides the girls straight into the surrounding buildings. His own monsters looked shocked and worried as the malevolent red aura wrapped around the blonde. Naruto chuckled darkly with closed eyes. So you want to sell my friends? His eyes snapped open to reveal an amethyst-colored purple. You know, you're really starting to tick me off. He said as he began walking towards the downed mob with a scary and deranged look in his eye. One brave or stupid soul attempted to take him out from behind with a lead pipe. Clang. What the hell are you? The villager with a now broken pipe asked as the possessed Naruto slowly turned his head with a crazed smile before he launched his fist towards the older man's gut, only to stop about 3 inches away. Good night, Naruto whispered as the villager was launched into the wall. Who's next? His monsters found out they couldn't even get close to him as the aura created shocked them whenever they got close. Before Naruto could continue his march, Ryo grabbed his waist from behind while Akiza and Misaki grabbed his arms and stopped him from moving any farther, or tried to, as he still kept stalking towards his newfound prey as he picked up the knife from earlier. Naruto, please stop it before you do something you will regret. They cried out as the aura began shocking them, but even then they continued to hold on. No one noticed that a red claw mark on Akiza began glowing, as did Ryo's eyes. Even Misaki began to glow. The red aura began to recede back into Naruto and he quickly collapsed onto the ground. Foxy Naruto. The girls and Gostrix called out as they surrounded the still conscious but drained down form of Naruto. He chuckled weakly. I'm sorry I messed up our last day together Rose, Yumi, Spark. You idiot, this is not our last day together. Misaki yelled, which was considered extremely rare. We will meet again and we will all get married, okay? She cried out as the other two looked at Naruto with tearful and pleading eyes. But. Please. Naruto sighed. Okay, we will get married at the age of 19 in the spring, alright? He asked as the girls glumped him and continued crying into his shirt. Around an hour later Naruto was in the hospital unconscious and surrounded by the sleeping forms of Akiza, Misaki and Ryo. Mana, Ito's and the older gastric monsters were talking to one another about the malevolent power within their blonde owner. We can't let this happen again, Ito said as the others nodded in agreement. Please forgive us Naruto, but we love you far too much for this to ever happen ever again. Ito said as a tear slid down her cheek and the monsters were getting ready to seal the events of today and of the memory of the three girls with solemn expressions on their face. Flashback end. And ever since that day they had tried to find you, but you had always changed locations whenever they thought they had tracked you down. Can forgive us Naruto. What the hell was that power exactly? We're not sure, all we do know is that the power inside you is very dangerous and it's not because of you know what, so will you forgive us Naruto-kun? Naruto warmly smiled before he tilted her head up. There's nothing to forgive Mana, you tried to protect me, that's all that matters, he said before he kissed her on the cheek and his smirk turned devious and he turned her on her stomach over his knees. But you still need to be punished for putting me in one hell of a situation, so I let you off with 10 spankings this time instead of 20. He then slightly lifted her skirt with one hand while he pulled the other one back as her face turned into a look of horror and a tiny hint of lust. Spank ow. Spank ow. Spank ow. Break. After finally tacking down all his monsters who trying to hide from him, he convinced them that he could handle whatever it was that gave power and turned him berserk, so they removed the mental barrier in his head and the memories had been slowly coming back. What the hell am I gonna do? Naruto asked as his monsters groaned in response. Each of the monsters from earlier each had their own punishment, from Mana being spanked to Hermos being dunked in a container of ice-cold water only to come into contact with honey and bees. How about we go watch Cirrus's match and then figure out what to do from there, Ito suggested from her position, hanging upside down in a tree tied in rope that appeared to be part of bondage. Naruto smiled. Good idea E-chan, he said as he kissed her cheek as well before he walked off leaving Timaeus halfway buried underground. Krisha's curled up in a ball crying about a turkey baster, Alucard tarred, feathered and dipped in liquid chocolate, Mana who was still on the ground holding her painful bottom, and Shinigami was on the ground with blood dripping from her nose and foaming out the mouth with a dopey smile on her face. Break. By the time Naruto had gotten to the arena the duel was just beginning and as soon as he got there he was pulled into a seat next to the accuser as a familiar ball of fur placed itself on his lap and began licking his face. You're late Naruto, Alexa said as she looked towards the cyan-colored Slifer Red and his opponent who was an obelisk blue female with dark reddish brown hair tied in toe tails and dark brown eyes that exuded an air of arrogance around her. As if reading his mind she continued, she's a cocky insect duelist that is set to turn pro in a few months. I heard she also has a thing for strong duelists that go into the pro league. Interesting, I hope Cirrus can win this duel, he said leaning all the way back in his seat with Kerr watching with glee if her wagging tails were anything to go by. I'm more surprised by the fact that you're talking to me. I don't honestly believe you were trying to lead us on, so after this duel we want an explanation over everything or else we are no longer friends, she said as Jaden nodded in agreement before said Slifer Red grabbed him by the jacket. And after we are done me and you are going to have a little talk alone, she said with a small glare that Naruto slightly returned before the two duelists in the arena began trash talking to one another. You know you're pretty plain compared to your sister, Missy said with a slight sneer as Cirrus took a serious offense to that, and what's that supposed to mean? He asked. Easy, your sister is much stronger than you and so are all the other people that you hang out with, but you're so small and don't have very much skill from what I've seen, so this should easily be my easy ticket to the pro leagues. Wait what? He asked. Prowler said that if I won this duel I would go to the pro leagues while if you won you would be promoted to raw yellow, now come on let's duel shorty. Fine let's get this over with. Duel start. Missy 4000. Cirrus 4000. I'll go first, Missy began. I summon Prickle Fairy in defense mode and end my turn, she said as a blonde-haired plant woman appeared on the field in defense mode, boasting a high defense for a 4-starred monster. And as long as she's on the field my insects are safe. Prickle Fairy LV4 plant 300 at 2000 def. Not bad for a first turn, Hassleberry said. Private Cirrus is going to have a lot of work cut out for him. Naruto grinned. I'm not worried one bit, Cirrus can win this duel, he stated confidently pounding a fist into his chest as Jaden nodded in agreement. Oh yeah, we'll see, Chaz stated as he kicked his feet onto the back of the stands. Cirrus 4000. Not bad, but I'm activating Shield Crush to destroy your Prickle Fairy and summon Steamroid in attack mode. Cirrus declared as his spell destroyed Missy's monster, and a cartoon train appeared on Cirrus's field standing on its hind legs or wheels. Steamroid LV4 machine 1800 at 1800 def. Now Steamroid attack her directly. He declared as the Thomas the Engine lookalike charged at the burgundy-haired obelisk blue, only to stop short and blow a cloud of hot steam onto Missy and her big hair, getting it to puff out in an afro. Missy 1800 equals 2200. Nice one Private. Hasselberry cheered. Jaden smiled, I told you he can win this one Chaz. That will teach Missy not to talk down to her opponent during the duel. Hopefully he'll also teach her not to duel in heels, Alexa said with an apathetic look on her face, as everyone looked at her with a deadpan expression. Don't look at me like that, she finished with a small blush across her face. Alright, I'm on fire. Cirrus cheered, now I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Cirrus laughed triumphantly until a heavy presence began pressing down on him. Missy began as her hair shadowed her eyes. Cirrus shivered, me? You messed up my hair. Missy yelled as Cirrus trembled in fear behind Steamroid who was also shuddering in fear. In the stands Alexis murmured something that sounded like I say it's an improvement. I was going to go easy on you and let at least lose with a shred of your humility, but now I'm going to utterly destroy you. Missy 2200. It's my draw and I'm activating Pot of Greed and then I'll activate another spell card double summon and normal summon Pinch Hopper and Cross-Sword Beetle in attack mode, but Pinch Hopper won't be here for long because I'm activating Multiplication of Ants and send him to the grave to summon 2 ant tokens. She said a large brown beetle with 4 large yellow pincers appeared as her green grasshopper was sacrificed to summon 2 ant monsters. Cross-Sword Beetle LV4 Insect 1800 at 1200 def. Ant token LV2 Insect 500 at 500 def x2. So what, you've sacrificed your grasshopper to summon 2 weaker, I don't understand. Because I sent Pinch Hopper I can now special summon any insect monster from my hand and she just so happens to be the princess of my deck. Meet my insect princess. She declared as a human-shaped insect with 4 arms and blue insect lenses appeared on the field. Insect Princess LV6 Insect 1900 at 1200 def. Chaz sighed, he's screwed. And get this, when she destroys an insect monster she gets a 500 point boost. Cirrus chuckled as he held up his dual disc, as you can see I don't have any insect monsters. Don't worry, I'll lend you some of mine with the field spell Insect Garden, she said as the field became enshrouded in shrubbery and her 2 insect tokens shifted over to Cirrus's side of the field. Next up I activate Insect Pheromone and equip to my Insect Princess, which lets her attack another insect monster on your side of the field. Now I'll have all 3 of my monsters attack your monsters, and if memory serves me right, when Steamroid is attacked, it loses 500 attack points. She said as her Insect Princess destroyed Cirrus's ants with her gaining 500 attack points after a quick buzz of her wings. Cirrus 1400 equals 2600. Insect Princess 1900 plus 500 equals 2400. Cirrus 2600 to 1900 equals 700. Insect Princess 2400 plus 500 equals 2900. And now Cross-Sword Beetle destroy his Steamroid. Hold on a minute. Cirrus declared, I'm activating both of my trap cards, Damage Condenser and Roid Barrier. Let me explain. By discarding a card I can summon a monster from my deck with attack points equal or less to the amount of damage I took this turn, so come on out via Roid. A strange machine top-like creature with 3 light bulb attachments to its head and large cartoonish eyes appeared on the field. Viroid LV4 machine 1600 at 400 def. Viroid barrier allows me to block your attack whenever you attack a Roid monster and also draw a card afterwards. I've never seen Cirrus use that Vire card before, Jaden said before she palmed her fist. Hey Naruto, is that one of the cards you gave Cirrus? She asked. Naruto nodded in return, yep, that one in particular is dangerous in its own right and can also be used to fusion summon the strongest Roid monster in existence, but I don't think Cirrus is fully ready to use it yet. Alexis frowned, well he might have to, he only has 700 life points left and if Missy summons another insect monster, she'll just give it to him and destroy it with either her Insect Princess or her beetle. So the squirt has to finish this duel right now or at least stall until he can figure out a way around her monsters, Chaz said with one open eye. I think Cirrus can do it, but he'll need Power Bond, Jaden said until Chaz interrupted her. Too bad it's not in his deck, he said waving the envelope in his hand. The entire gang bar Naruto began to yell at him for taking Cirrus's card. Hold on a minute, he gave this to me to give to you. He said to Jaden as he handed her the envelope. Chaz, there's nothing in here, she said as Chaz took the envelope back from Jaden and looked inside the envelope seeing nothing. Where the hell did it go? Cirrus 700. It's my draw and now I'm activating my own pot of greed to draw 2 cards. He said as he drew 2 more cards, but then he stopped and looked at his hand with a slightly nervous expression. I summoned Submarinoid and set 1 card face down, he said as a blue and yellow submarine with hands and cartoonish eyes appeared on the field. Submarinoid LV4 machine 800 at 1800 def. Now I'll have Submarinoid attack. Cirrus said as the roid monster vanished underground and began speeding towards Missy, only for her to comment about how his roid monster wouldn't come close to destroying her insect monsters, until Cirrus continued, then it's a good thing my Submarinoid can attack you direct. He finished as Submarinoid launched a cartoonish missile at Missy, causing the ground to blow up. Missy 2200 800 equals 1400. And after he attacks I can switch him to defense mode, and that's all for now. Missy 1400. It's over for you shrimp, I summon magical longicorn in attack mode, and I'll go ahead and give it to you, a roach-like insect with 2 bulb-like eyes with 2 long stalks that also had a dim bulb on the end, appeared before it walked over to Cirrus's side of the field. Now go insect princess attack magical longicorn. Missy ordered as her princess was about to destroy her own longicorn and win the duel. Not so fast I activate the trap card roid swap, it not only allows me to block your attack, but it also allows me to send 1 monster to the graveyard to special summon 1 roid monster from my hand. So say goodbye to magical longicorn and say hi to Draroid. He finished as a 1-eyed robot head with 2 cylinder-like horns. Draroid LV3 machine 900 at 1200 def. Fine, I set 1 card face down and end my turn, Missy began, you know you should probably give up, you'll never be as good as your sister. All you'll ever be is Z's little brother and nothing. Shut up. Cirrus yelled, surprising everyone, you know I'm tired of being called Z's little brother or hearing about how I'll never be as good as she is. I'm tired of always being in her shadow and how everybody compares me to her, and guess what, I'm sick of it. My name is Cirrus Truesdale and I'm my own damn person. Cirrus 700. It's my draw. He said as he drew only for his eyes to widen, this card, but I thought. Play the card Cirrus. Naruto called out, you are your own person, and your sister knew that when she gave you that card, so go. Naruto's right, first off I'm tributing via Roid and Draroid to summon Armoroid. A large airplane appeared from behind Cirrus before it began a Voltron-like transformation with the wings forming arms and the nose forming the torso. Armoroid, LV8 machine 2700 at 2000 def. Oh please, that monster can't even come close, my insect princess. Then it's a good thing I'm not done, because when Armoroid is tribute summoned with a Roid monster, all the spell and trap cards are removed from play. He said as Armoroid punched the ground, removing Missy's insect garden, insect pheromone and her face down trap mirror force. Next up I'm activating power bond to fuse my Submarinoid, Truckroid and the Drillroid in my hand to summon Super Vehicroid Jumbo Drill, and when summoned using power bond, its attack doubles. A large pink drill cartoon machine with the top of a submarine rose out the ground from underground. Super Vehicroid Jumbo Drill LV8 machine 3000 at 2000 def 3000 x 2 equals 6000. Now go Armoroid and Jumbo Drill, finish this duel. He ordered. Armoroid launched missiles across Sword Beetle and Jumbo Drill speared Insect Princess in the ribs, causing another small explosion that sent Missy to the ground. Missy 1400 900 3100 equals 0. Whiner Cirrus Truesdale. Cirrus gave the victory sign before he walked over to Missy and helped her up on her own 2 feet. That was a good duel, he said as he was about to walk away only to be stopped by a hand on his shoulder. Missy looked at him with a sheepish expression on her face. I'm sorry about comparing you to your older sister, you're Cirrus Truesdale, she said before she leaned down and pecked him on the cheek. Cirrus's face grew red before his ears began blowing out steam, getting the gang to laugh a bit. Break. So how does it feel to be raw yellow Cirrus? Jaden asked from the balcony in Chaz's room, getting the brand new raw yellow to nod his head. It was a great duel, the only thing I can't understand is why you gave Chaz the power bond card, is how it even wound up in your deck after you gave it to him. I think I have a pretty good idea of what happened, right Naruto? Alexis asked, getting the blonde to lift an eyebrow. What makes you think I did it? He asked as he began walking to his own dorm, which was only a little ways away. I mean, anybody could have taken the letter from Chaz's jacket as soon as he stuffed it into said jacket, and after stealing it, managed to distract Cirrus long enough to insert the card into Cirrus's deck before he even had the change to notice, right? Yeah, Alexis stated with a tone that said she didn't believe him whatsoever before she grabbed Naruto by the ear. Now if you guys don't mind, Jaden and I need to have a little talk with Naruto. She began dragging the crimson blonde away, who was calling to the other guys to help him only for them to whistle. You bastards. This is the second time you've left me to die, I'll get you back one way, you better believe that. He said before Jaden joined in and dragged the blonde away to his own dorm. Break. This is your dorm? Jaden asked, seeing a dorm about twice the size of Chaz's room. What the hell did you do to get a room this size? She yelled as they traveled in. Easy, I built it, well summoned it, more like it, thank you Gostrick Mansion. Anyway, what do you want to talk about? He asked innocently. Alexis and Jaden glared before Jaden began speaking. Don't act like you don't know, we want to talk about Akiza Izinski, Rio Castle and Misaki Taojo. What's your connection to them and why do they keep saying you're their fiancé? In other words, we want to know everything. Naruto sighed, I'll tell you, but only if you tell me why you keep fighting with them, he responded, oblivious to the fact that they might like them and was just wondering if they were being overprotective. Alexis growled at the oblivious blonde, but nodded, fine, but you go first, she said as she sat down on his bed with crossed her legs, while Jaden did the same, only in his swiveling desk chair. You do know I can see up both of your skirts, right? Shut up and start talking. They yelled in unison before pulling their skirts down a little. Alright, those girls are my childhood friends and the only friends I had as a kid due to some odd circumstances, he said as Kura hopped into his lap. As kids we were the best of friends, even though they could have played with anybody else due to their families being a bit wealthy, but they chose to play with me. And as time continued, I guess they developed crushes on me, and to the extent that they even kidnapped me the day before they had to leave my little town. After a little incident where I was left in the hospital after saving them, they made me promise to never leave them ever again, and so they made me promise to get married to them in 3 years. But the thing is, after I left the hospital it turns out I had contracted amnesia and actually didn't remember anything until after the whole incident earlier, he slightly fibbed, hoping they wouldn't catch the lie. Wow, and here I thought you were trying to play us, Alexa said with a solemn expression on her face that was mirrored by Jaden's. Play you? Naruto asked, tilting his head to the side, a move that was mirrored by Kura doing the exact same thing. Jaden face-palmed before she began chuckling. I just realized this is Naruto we're dealing with, I don't think he could lead someone on if he tried, she said as the two girls laughed, getting the foxy duo to just shrug their shoulders. Now will you tell me why you two girls are so hostile toward the other girls? He asked, getting the fox in his lap to place her paws over her eyes and his, Alexis's and Jaden's eavesdropping monsters to face fault in response. Why is Naruto so dense? Etoile Cyber asked. Mana sighed, it probably has something to do with the fact he's never been around many people, let alone females that like him, so he either has no idea that they like him or he was just born that dense. It's kinda sad actually, there was one girl that liked Naruto, but he never noticed and I think she eventually gave up on him. You see we might have, Jaden began until a familiar action gave her an evil smile, I've always wanted to do this since I met him. She grabbed his face and pulled him in very close before she began to stroke his whisker, getting him to purr and become complete putty in her hands. Alexis soon joined in and also began petting his cheeks, getting the monsters to laugh. So what do you want to do about the other girls that will come into his life? I mean, he's too damn lovable for almost any girl to not want to like him, she asked as she put his head in her lap as they continued stroking his cheek. Alexis sighed, I don't know, we'll figure out something along the way, but in the meantime, she led off with a slightly devious smile, I won't give up without a fight. Jaden returned the smile with one of her own, neither will I, she responded before their stomachs began growling, getting Kura to snicker before her own stomach started growling. Break. I hope you're ready for tomorrow, we expect a victory from you tomorrow, Ms. Truesdale, a man in a black suit with slicked back hair, stated with a bit of a threatening tone as he and Z walked out of a large restaurant. Don't worry, I never lose. Would you like a ride, Ms. Truesdale? The limo driver asked. Z pondered for a moment, no, I like to walk, especially before a big match. Suit yourself, but don't forget we want a victory tomorrow and watch out for the demon, the man in the suit said as the limo sped away. A few moments into Z's walk, the shrill cry of a man rang out from a nearby alley. By the time she got there, a figure was standing over the form of a beaten and bloodied man. You can't escape from destiny, the figure said before they jumped onto a nearby roof. Z ran over to the unconscious man, seeing a large slash mark across his chest before a pair of cops ran in. What could have done this to him? The demon. The next day. I still can't believe you got this program on pay-per-view, Lieutenant, Hasselberry said in Naruto's living room, which was the size of Shepard's office. You'd be surprised what you're able to do once you've explored the world, or at least some parts of it. So Cirrus, you excited about Z's first Pro League match? Naruto asked with a bowl full of popcorn in his lap as the entire gang was watching the large flat screen in his home. I sure am, and I know she'll win for sure, the cyan-colored raw yellow asked before the announcer began announcing. But Z. Before Z was able to walk out the dressing room, a knock on the door grabbed her attention. She opened the door, but nobody was there. Hello? All that was outside the door was a small package with a purple ribbon, a note that said good luck, and a photo of students at Duel Academy. Inside the package were a few blank cards that turned into regular cards besides two of them. Interesting. Break. Well folks, I say it's about time we get this duel underway. In the red corner is the duelist with the highest grades of Duel Academy, who's come out here to show her stuff in the Pro League. Please welcome the Kaiser Z Truesdale. The former Obelisk Blue walked out with her head held up high and an emotionless FROWN on her face and a black and white glove on her right hand. And her opponent is the Master of Destiny and one of the crowd's favorites. In the blue corner, welcome Ashley Phoenix. From the opposite side of the arena, a silver-haired blue-eyed girl dressed in a silver business suit with a top button unbuttoned walked into the fray with a confident smirk on her face. So who do you think will win? Jaden asked. Are you kidding? Chaz asked. That hack couldn't even beat Jaden. But don't forget, Ashley didn't use her real deck, she just used a deck that she slapped together that morning, Jaden said with a small frown before the duel began. Duel Arena. I've heard a lot about you, 30 victories and not a single loss, not bad for a kid, Z stated with a confident smirk on her face. Thanks grandma, Ashley said, getting Z to glare heavily at her with a dark gleam in her eye. Duel start. Ashley, 4000. Beauty before age, Ashley stated, let's see, I'm summoning elemental hero Avian. The green-skinned feathered hero appeared on the field only with a darker skin tone than usual. Elemental hero Avian LV3 warrior 1000 at 1000 def. What? Z and the students from Duel Academy yelled at seeing the hero for the first time outside of Jaden's deck. Come on, Jaden complained. Surprise, well there's a lot more to come, but for now I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Z, 4000. Not bad, but let me show you a little trick. I special summon Cyber Dragon from my hand due to the face you have monsters and I don't, then I'll normal summon Cyber Dragon's Way in attack mode as well. Cyber Dragon LV5 machine 2100 at 1600 def. Cyber Dragon's Way LV4 machine 1500 at 1000 def. Now by revealing one spell card such as My Trap Booster's Way's attack points increase by 300 and is treated as Cyber Dragon, now Cyber Dragon's Way attack elemental hero Avian. Cyber Dragon's Way did just that as the feathered hero was easily destroyed. Ashley 4800 equals 3200. Now Cyber Dragon attack her directly. Not so fast, Ashley interrupted, I activate Draining Shield to not only stop your attack, but to also gain life points equal to your monster's attack points. Not bad, but I activate Trap Booster, so I'll ditch one card and activate Trap Jammer. Ashley smirked, so close, but you have to realize that cards like Trap Jammer are a dime a dozen, she stated, activating her own Trap Jammer to disable Z's, so her Draining Shield could take effect. Ashley 3200 plus 2100 equals 5300. TCH, I set a card face down and end my turn. Ashley, 5300. It's my move grandma and I'm activating a little card called Monster Reborn to bring back Avian, and then I'm activating Polymerization to fuse the Avian on the field with the Burstinatrix in my hand to create Elemental Hero Phoenix Enforcer. The male figure appeared from the fusion portal in black tight with a flame-like design with green feathered wings and a helmet that completely covered his eyes. On his right arm was the claw used by Avian except much bigger. Finally he had a long dragon-like tail with spikes along it. Elemental Hero Phoenix Enforcer LV6 Warrior 2100 at 1200 def. Hold up a minute, Cirrus interrupted, that doesn't make sense, she fused Avian and Burstinatrix, that makes Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. Chaz snorted in response, you really are still a slacker. Elemental heroes can fuse into more than one monster, don't you remember Jaden fusing Stratos and Shadow Mist to form Great Tornado, Alexis began, and then she used those same monsters to summon Escuderio. Jaden, did you know about this fusion? Cirrus asked. Nope, she stated, getting the others to face fault in response besides Naruto who was playing with Kura's ears. Now I activate Hero Double Strike, it allows my hero monster to attack twice, now go Elemental Hero Phoenix Enforcer attack Cyber Dragon's Way. She said his way was slashed in half within an instant. Z 4600 equals 3400. Now attack her Cyber Dragon, she ordered as the hero attacked Z's monster, to be expected both monsters erupted in a plume of smoke, only for Phoenix Enforcer to still be standing, and Z's Cyber Dragon gone. Did I forget to mention the fact that Phoenix Enforcer can't be destroyed by battle? I'll set a card face down and end my turn. Z, 3400. Cute, but it's my turn and first off I'm summoning Cyber Kirin from my hand, then I'm activating Pot of Greed to draw 2 cards, then I'll activate Power Bond to fuse the 2 Cyber Dragons. I just drew to summon Twin Cyber Dragon in attack mode, and because I used Power Bond its attack points doubled. She said as a small robotic hound and a 2-headed machine dragon appeared on the field before it let out a monstrous roar. Cyber Kirin LV3 machine 300 at 800 def. Cyber Twin Dragon LV8 machine 2800 at 2100 def 2800 x2 equals 5600. Now go Cyber Twin Dragon, double Strident Blast. she said as the dragon launched twin beams of light towards the hero and caused a massive explosion, but Enforcer came out the attack relatively unharmed. Ashley 5300 to 3500 equals 1800. Did I forget to mention that Cyber Twin Dragon can attack twice in a battle phase? Go Cyber Twin Dragon, end this duel. The dragon launched another twin burst of energy at the hero, causing another explosion, and the crowd went wild, chanting Truesdale. Z's gaze didn't change before she called out, "I know you're not finished yet." Ashley, 50. From the smoke came a light chuckle. That wasn't a bad move, but because I activated the trap card hero's reduction, the damage I would have taken is cut in half. Better luck next time, Grandma. Now if I'm correct, you'll be taking damage equal to your monster's original attack. Ignoring the age stab, Z smirked. You would think so, but I'm activating the special effect of my Cyber Kirin. By sending it to the graveyard, all effect damage is reduced to 0. Ashley, 50. I summon elemental hero Sparkman in attack mode and equip him with Spark Blaster. The electric-themed hero appeared on the field with a small blue blaster that radiated electricity. Elemental hero Sparkman LV4 Warrior 1600 at 1400 def. Next up, I activate guard penalty, which lets me draw a card every time a monster changes positions, so I think I'll activate Spark Blaster to switch your dragon into defense mode, she said with a slight sneer. Oh, why not? I think I'll switch your monster back into attack, then back into defense. Hey mommy, look, the dragon is dancing. A little girl laughed, as did the rest of the crowd, getting Z to growl. And now because I used Spark Blaster 3 times, it's destroyed, and now I draw 3 cards because of guard penalty. Ashley gave a sinister smirk. I activate polymerization to fuse my Phoenix Enforcer with my Sparkman to summon elemental hero Shining Phoenix Enforcer. A literally shining new hero appeared with green tights and armor, similar to that of Shining Flare Wingman's. Elemental hero Shining Phoenix Enforcer 2500 at 2100 def. He also gains 300 attack points for every elemental hero in my graveyard, and right now there are 4 in my graveyard. Shining Phoenix Enforcer 2500 plus 1200 equals 3700. Now I'll activate H-Heated Heart, so now not does my monster get 500 attack, but he also can deal the difference between his attack and your twin Cyber Dragon's defense. Now go Enforcer, destroy that Cyber Twin Dragon. Shining Phoenix Enforcer 3700 plus 500 equals 4200. The hero nodded his head and smashed straight through the large metallic dragon, leaving a large hole in the dragon's chest before it exploded. Z 3400 to 2100 equals 1300. I'll set a card face down and end my turn. Shining Phoenix Enforcer 4200 500 equals 3700. Z 1300. It's my draw and I'm activating Pot of Avarice, which allows me to add 5 monsters to my deck, then I can draw 2. Next I activate Future Fusion to send my 3 Cyber Dragons to the grave to summon Cyber End Dragon in 2 turns, but that's too long of a wait, so I activate the spell card Mechanized Cyber Fusion, allowing me to fuse the 3 Cyber Dragons in my grave to fusion summon the mighty Cyber End Dragon. The 3-headed metallic dragon appeared on the field with a large roar. Cyber End Dragon LV10 Machine 4000 at 2800 def. Now go Cyber End Dragon, end this duel, Super Strident Blaze. She ordered before the dragon launched a triple stream of blue lasers at the shining hero. Ashley smirked in response. Hold up, I'm activating the trap card Destiny Destruction. Now I can send the top 5 cards of my deck to the graveyard, and what do you know, they're all elemental heroes, so Enforcer's attack points increase to 5200. She stated as Shining Enforcer crashed through the beam before once again blasting a hole straight through the metallic dragon, much to the horror of Z. Z 1300 to 1200 equals 100. I set a card face down and a monster face down and end my turn, she stated with her bangs covering her eyes. The crowd began cheering Ashley's name and booing her own name, telling her lose already. Sis, Cirrus muttered before he began to walk away, only for a hand to grab his arm. Don't walk away from this yet, Cirrus, Naruto said with a gleam in his eyes that spelled mischief and a hint of anger somewhere in his heterochrome-colored eyes. Cirrus gritted his teeth. I can't. Yes you can, contrary to what you might believe, this duel isn't over yet. Ashley, 50. You know, to be honest, I expected more from you. Oh well, go Shining Phoenix Enforcer, attack her face down monster. She declared before Z's trap card Negate Attack did its job and negated her attack and ended the battle phase. TCH stubborn, I know you don't have a monster in your deck that's strong enough to beat my Enforcer, and on my next turn, I'll summon a monster strong enough to wipe out the rest of your life points. You should just go back to Duel Academy with those lame friends of yours. But in that moment something awoke in Z that had been lying dormant since she began dueling. Anger. What did you just say? She asked with an eerily quiet voice. Your friends at Duel Academy are lame, especially that short blue-haired kid with the glasses. She explained, never noticing the scowl that on Z's face. Z, 100. It's my draw and I activate Pot of Greed and draw 2 more cards, Z said before her eyes widened at the card she drew. This is one of the cards from the box, well let's put it to good use. First I flip summon the monster known as Proto Cyber Dragon and summon Cyber Dragon Dre in attack mode. 2 dragon-like machine monsters appeared on the field. Dre was more snake-like with a large spike coming from its head. Proto Cyber Dragon LV3 machine 1100 at 800 def. Cyber Dragon Dre LV4 machine 1800 at 800 def. When Dre is summoned all Cyber Dragons become level 5, next up I activate the spell card level recharge, it gives me 100 life points for every level on my side of the field, and since there is 2 level 5s, I gain 1000 life points. Z 100 plus 1000 equals 1100. Is she about to do what I think she's about to do? Chaz asked as the rest of the gang were eagerly waiting on the edge of their seats. I'm going to overlay my level 5 Proto Cyber Dragon with my level 5 Cyber Dragon Dre to XYZ summon Cyber Dragon Nova. She stated as one of the blank cards turned into a normal card. From the black portal a large metal dragon with yellow spikes on the back of its neck and no eyes appeared with a massive roar. It had large wings that had a large red circle near at its joints and a large tail. Its core was a large ball of fire in between 2 small Trex-like arms. Cyber Dragon Nova R5 machine 2100 at 1600 def. Nice monster, but it's still too weak to defeat my Shining Phoenix Enforcer, Ashley commented. I'm activating Nova's ability by removing an overlay unit. It gains 2100 at points. Now go Cyber Dragon Nova attack with Strident Stream. Cyber Dragon Nova 2100 plus 2100 equals 4200. But why your monster still doesn't have enough attack points to destroy my Enforcer? What is she thinking? Alexis asked as did the rest of the gang before Shining Phoenix Enforcer countered the blast and created a hole in the XYZ Cyber Dragon and another explosion riddled the area enveloping Z in the smoke. Z 1100 to 1000 equals 100. What was the point of that? All you did was destroy your own monster. Ashley questioned before the smoke began to clear to reveal a terrifying creature. It was a dragon with white armor and a blue underbelly with a tail that seemed to go on and on. It also had 2 arms that had enormous claws as well as actual feet. Along the body were red circles that had tan-colored spikes. On its head was a red gem that complemented its solid green eyes. Meet my new fusion monster Cyber Dragoon. Beyblade Cyber Dragoon. Cyber Dragoon LV10 machine 3500 at 3000 def. H, how the heck did you summon that? Ashley stated, getting a light chuckle from Z as she chuckled from the pro losing her cool. Normally I would have to fuse 4 cyber dragons with 4 different names, but my Cyber Dragon Nova is destroyed by battle or effect. I can summon a cyber monster from my extra deck, regardless of the normal conditions. Ashley growled, big deal, your monster still isn't strong enough to even scratch my hero. Z raised an eyebrow, you might want to check again. Cyber Dragoon 3500 plus 2400 equals 5900. W, what the heck? Ashley cried as she took a step back. Cyber Dragoon gains 300 attack points for every cyber monster in my graveyard and there are 8, it has another effect, but that's not really important right now, go Cyber Dragoon Supreme Strident Stream. She finished as the Dragoon blasted the shining hero with a white laser, causing Ashley to sink to her knees in response. Ashley 50 to 700 equals 0. Winner Z Truesdale. Unbelievable, folks, in her first duel Z Truesdale has beaten the undefeated Ashley Phoenix, what an upset. The announcer yelled at the top of his lungs as the crowd cheered. Z held her fist up high while Ashley was still in shock. Sure, she hadn't used her Destiny heroes in the duel, but still. The students at Duel Academy were in a frenzy as they cheered for their former fellow students' victory. Back in Naruto's dorm the gang cheered, even Kura cheered as she hopped around yipping in excitement. I told she'd win, Naruto said with all-knowing smile as everyone else just rolled their eyes in response before Cirrus asked, how did you know she'd win? Easy, you and your sister are powerful in your own right and I know you two would never lose to someone that cocky. Cirrus chuckled sheepishly before another thought popped into his head, where did she get those monsters? I've never even heard of those cards before. I don't know, but what I do know is that I can't wait to duel her again. Jaden said as she pumped her fist. The intercom came on a moment later with Chancellor Crowler speaking, would all students please come to the duel arena for a special announcement. Break. In the duel arena the students were bustling and talking, eager to learn what Crowler's announcement will be. Eventually both Crowler and Bonaparte walked to the center stage of the stadium. Good evening students, I have exciting news. It seems that Duel School has decided to challenge Duel Academy to a series of duel, and by all means we accepted. That means I need 7 representatives to duel them and they will be here in about a month's time, so be prepared to duel for representative spots. On a part continued, there will be 3 single duels and 2 tag duels, and by the way the name of this school is Elemental Academy. Naruto's eyes widened before his hands clenched so hard his knuckles turned white. Naruto, your hand it's bleeding. And true to Jaden's words Naruto's right hand was bleeding, but Naruto wasn't paying attention to her words and continued to squeeze to clench his fists. A delicate hand placed itself on his shoulder finally gaining his attention. He turned his hand and gave a sheepish grin, my bad. Unknown to the gang similar reactions were happening in the stadium with Akiza, Misaki and Rio. It's payback time. Unknown place. 7 flames were shining in a completely white room, under each flame was a small throne that had a figure covered in complete darkness. Is it almost time? A voice asked that was soon followed by a crunch sound as the owner began eating a bag of chips. Not yet, we still have to wait for that bitch to start her plan and it pisses me off that we have to keep waiting. Another voice said as they punched the arm of the throne. Calm yourself, it will be all the better for when we finally obtain our prize, a sultry voice responded. But I want it now. Another voice growled. I know what you mean, I'm getting more annoyed day after day, our prize belongs to us and no one else, a similar childlike voice said with a sneer. Zzzzz, a new voice snored completely knocked out on the seat of their throne. Everyone calm down, when the time comes we will get our prize and I'm confident no one will be able to stop us from succeeding. And when we do claim our prize we will finally be able to leave this wretched place and spread our chaos across the land. The final voice laughed only to be hit in the head by the sleeping figure. In another white room. This is interesting. The cards are projecting another force. Let's see, there is the princess which is Ashley, the fool that went upside down represents the queen, and now there is the chaotic king that went upside down represents oblivion. An XYZ country. I sense a disturbance in the force. I know you did not just say that. Well I did, get over it. Did you even find the location of these missing numbers? I have not been able to locate any of them for the time being, but I feel that an incredible force is about to shake the very foundation of the world. Why do you always have to speak in riddles? Because it easily annoys you. You're such a bitch. End. What if Neglected Naruto was banished? Yu-Gi-Oh! End here and thanks for watching my video till the end.